crap. My intro didn't start freaking playing on screen like it's supposed to. I'm gonna have to work this thing out. But what's up, everybody? Welcome to Planet Xbox. This is episode 41. Can't believe we made it 41 episodes. We got a good week, good show scheduled ahead. A lot of things to talk about. Got some guests. But before we get into all of that, there is one thing I do want to mention. And just let me let this fill up here. Just give me one moment, guys. I apologize. Here we go. And we already got a dislike. I wonder how. All right.
People are already on it, man.
Yeah, that's what we, I do we've the gaming community, the Xbox community took a major loss. I don't know if you guys know who Xbox Addict is, aka Matt, aka Xbox Addict. He was the kid with the and I said kid, he's not a kid. He was actually he's a vet. He was a vet. He had probably one of the sickest Xbox-based themed gaming rooms I've ever seen. But he was very, very proud Xbox fan, well known in the community. He unfortunately passed away. I want to say this morning or last night. We heard that he fell ill, and he had a long fight, but he's starting over, but he's no longer here with us, but he is here in our spirits. And I just want to take a moment of silence for Matt, aka Xbox Addict, Xbox legend, and we can take this moment of silence right now. All right, much appreciated, guys. Rest in peace to Matt, aka Xbox Addict. Never got to have the opportunity to have him on the podcast or speak to him in depth, but I definitely saw the passion and loved everything that he posted. And you will be missed. All right, let's get the show on the road. Planet Xbox, episode 41. We are here. What's up, chat? What's up, co-host? Gaming Addict, what is up? I'm mentioning you first this time. Is he there? Of course. The one time I mentioned him first, right?
The co-host.
And I think he just messed up the call. Awesome.
He said he was gonna do it too.
Yeah.
He knew he was gonna do it. He did it intentionally.
Yeah, it feels so scripted, doesn't it? Oh man. There we go. Yeah. Temporarily just screwed everything up. What's the Addict?
Discord.
Yeah.
Well, it's not my fault. Discord's having some serious issues.
It is.
That's not my fault.
Discord.
That's your fault.
It's my fault. I don't run Discord.
It's easy. Just plain smooth, bro. All
right, Addict. Let them know what's up.
Oh, are we live?
Yeah, we're live. you missed a moment of silence and everything.
The best co-host.
Well, what's up, guys? My B. I didn't know we were live. That's stuff I don't know.
Oh my god.
Oh man, wow. And what's up too? I checked out one of your recent videos, Merc. I had to put you on my notifications list, but what's up to Merc 305? Who's
Yo, what's up, Merc 305? Back for another episode. I'm sure that we have a number of great topics to cover, including that small game that's coming out on Friday. Looking forward to getting into it, man.
this is Planet Xbox. This ain't Planet PlayStation. Is that the talk? Is that
hey, it is what it is.
Hey.
And
I'm a Metacritic, man.
and what's up to Grinds My Gears? What's up, Jez?
Yo, what's up? It's Jez7780. I'm excited right now. I had a couple of videos drop on my YouTube channel. It's growing.
Awesome.
Plan to just do some rants. I saw Smooth is keeping me in check with my my episode numbers. I think I did a double number.
Well,
Yeah.
Thanks, Smooth.
I mean, you're growing the quickest way you could possibly grow on YouTube. Just talk shit about Xbox. So.
Hey, there you go.
Oh man.
I have to talk more shit to get. No, I'm not even talking that much. Trust me.
And
A whole bunch more.
let's Dope Gaming. What's up?
What's going on? It's Frogs with Dope Gaming. I'm picking up my PS4 Pro God of War Edition tomorrow at 9. GameStop's letting people pick it up early at 9, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. Pretty excited to get in the conversation, though, because there's a lot I think we have to talk about on here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get into it.
And Psycho Gamer, man, what's up?
What's up, man? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It's a Cycle Gamer, and yeah, let's get to it.
And if you're looking at the TV screen that sits right above the Xbox One X on the screen, our guest today is, hold on, it looks like my mic might be loud. All right, our guest today is the one and only Griffin Gaming, man. What is up?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Shout out to the chat. It's great to be on today. I'm looking forward to talking about some games, especially God of War. Game looks awesome, and I'm going to be picking it up 9 p.m. tomorrow night as well.
Where are you guys? Where are you guys off from Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm in Virginia.
Oh, you're in Virginia?
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
How are you guys getting it at 9 p.m. tomorrow?
because because the street date is being broken. Because I got mines right
Oh,
now.
look at
I got mines right now. Didn't even unbox it yet. So
I gotta break it to a GameStop to get it early. Look at Smooth walking around.
yeah, if you live in New York, if you live in New York, you can definitely get it. All the mom and pop stores got it right now.
If you pre-ordered at GameStop, they're going to let you pick it up tomorrow at 9.
Nah, Smooth. You got that plastic bag over your head at GameStop and grab it.
What, the 2 eye holes cut out?
The two of us guys,
But GameStop.
I thought you were gonna get that game and break it in the street. Like,
No, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I don't have enough money to
Oh, my
just
God.
buy freaking games and break them just to piss
Snap.
off a few people. Oh no, not me. Yeah. So I know this is playing Xbox, but let's talk about God of War, because God of War does relate to Xbox for one reason and one reason only. Ryan McCaffrey, the dude from IGN, had this tweet where he says Xbox fans are dying to celebrate a masterpiece exclusive like God of War, but in some along the lines of they have to. It took Sony 10 years, starting in the PlayStation 3 era. It takes time. He's sure Microsoft will probably get there, but it will take time. So to some degree, it blew up on Twitter. Phil Spencer responded and talking about how first party, talking about how their services took time, backwards compatible hardware, all that stuff took time, and they are working on new games with single player done correctly and looking to give the fans what they deserve. I'm not speaking of shit that he said verbatim, but that was pretty much it. But it got a lot of attention. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about it. And there's been a lot of reactions for God of War, and I want to know pretty much your guys' thoughts on Ryan McCaffrey's comments about Xbox fans and God of War, and do you think what is your thoughts on God of War's impact on how we're looking at Xbox right now? So we're gonna start with I want to start with our guest, because I've been watching a lot of Griffin Gaming over the past couple of days. If you could tell by my Twitter likes, but Griffin, let's start with you.
All right, well, I think this situation is very telling of the current state of Xbox. People are starting to get fed up. We've started to see everybody going out and posting the pictures of them buying the Pro. They're all hyped up about God of War, and we haven't been this hyped for an Xbox game this entire generation. I think it's safe to say.
Facts.
Because we knew we were getting a Gears,
Yeah.
we knew we were getting a Halo, and we knew they were going to be pretty similar. This God of War game is basically like a brand new IP if you really look at it, simply due to the fact that almost everything about it is different except you are playing as Kratos. So I agree with Ryan's tweet to a certain degree. The one thing I don't agree with is PlayStation and Xbox were in the exact same position 10 years ago. They've both had the same amount of time to grow their first party and improve. So it's obvious that Sony has been investing in their first party studios and their first party games Whereas Microsoft is clear to see they've been investing mainly in the feature side of the Xbox, which when they revealed the Xbox One, you could tell that was the direction they were going. So I think it's just almost like Phil needs time, but we as consumers don't want it to take time because we want to get the best thing we can for our money. And it's understandable why people are upset about this. So I agree with Ryan's tweet. I think Phil's response to it is that corporate PR kind of thing. He basically said, like, well, look at what we've done here. We've improved on the hardware. We've given you backwards compatibility. We've given you great features. But I think a lot of people are kind of sick of hearing about that because, as he claims, these things happen at the same time. They don't take away from each other. He stated several times, like, the backwards compatibility aspect of Xbox has nothing to do with the first party development side. So I think people are starting to kind of see the hypocrisy in that. It's like, okay, so you're saying this doesn't take away, but where are the first party games to actually prove that? So that's kind of what I think about the situation.
I mean, I would have to disagree a tad bit because
Go ahead, Seiko.
The simple way of saying it is, I mean, Sony has a lot of first party, developers or whatever. God of War is just one of their games, and it happens to be a really, really good game. Xbox does have games, and they put out the Halo, they put out the Gears. They have first party games. They just aren't on the level of God of War. So to say that they haven't been, putting out games or whatever, I just don't agree with that. I just think Sony has a couple of good games like the Uncharted and the God of War and stuff like that. I mean, God of War is just the pinnacle of it. And as far as Ryan McCaffrey's, where is it? Ryan McCaffrey?
Ryan McCaffrey.
I feel like he does this once or twice a year where he does a backhanded compliment to Microsoft or just something to keep people talking and go see his site and go, just to get people going. I feel like he did the same thing last year right before E3 where he unveiled Microsoft's plans or something like that.
No, that was Jeff Keighley.
That was Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley.
That was
Okay,
Jeff Keighley,
okay.
yeah,
Got
Jeff
you.
Keighley.
Okay. My fault.
But it is a backhanded kind of. He definitely left it open ended.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
like he was like, he did leave it open where he was like, well, and they did it in 10 years. What do you think? And that you could do it in the future. Like kind of led the answer to that. But yeah.
All right. Anybody want to follow up to what Griffin said? I mean, I know, no,
I look at it like this. I agree and I disagree. I agree that Microsoft has been releasing games, but not on the same caliber as Sony far as like the critically acclaimed games that and the game changing. Like when Halo 5 came out, it was different, but it was still Halo,
Correct.
And I think what he was basically saying, that was right, and what I took it at, and Warzone was to me absolute genius. What I took it as is like they took a franchise of theirs and they just totally just rebuilt it, and it's a whole different game. Me and Smooth got into a conversation on Twitter because of Colin Moriarty, which I disagree with a lot of things that he says a lot of times. But my thing with Ryan McCaffrey is like when he said the 10-year statement, I kind of disagree because Sony since the beginning, they have always, from the PlayStation 1, whether people want to admit it or not, they've always really created great new IPs, and they've had games on their system that really like, and whether they were exclusive or they were third party developed, and if they were exclusive on their system, they kind of defined what changed gaming. People talk a lot about Final Fantasy and whether it's overrated or underrated or so forth. Mm-hmm. But when Final Fantasy VII came out, like that defined and changed the gaming generation as we know it, and it was only one place you could do it. So Sony is always, for some reason, whether it's first, second, or third party, they've always had games in their console that really define and change each generation. When you look at each generation, you can kind of say, holy crap, I remember the first time seeing a PlayStation 2 and seeing Grand Theft Auto 3, and I was like, I've never seen anything like this. And that was the only place you could play it at the time. Microsoft eventually got it later, but it was just the fact that Sony's consoles, for some reason, they always seem, and I get what he was saying, with the Xbox, it's kind of like they get games here and there, but what is that, and especially this generation, what is that defining game this generation that has really made people say, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this on this
Comes out
level." Like,
Friday.
and God of War is that game. God of War is that game.
Pretty-
Last generation, The Last of Us was that game for Sony. Every generation, Sony has a game that we say, "Wow, we didn't know that this is even possible," or the companies will take a chance. It's kind of like I said the other day. It would be nice to see some of Microsoft's companies create new IPs in a different way. Take a chance and create a third person Halo game. Will it work? Who knows? But it's
Take a
just the
chance.
fact that. Right, it's just the fact that you take a chance and you've done something. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just using that as an example. But you've done something different. Let 343 make something other than Halo. Let these guys make something different. And I think the thing is, Microsoft doesn't have the studios to really and honestly create the games they need to create. So they need to do these second party deals, and they need to go into some of these companies and say, look, they got Bloodborne from software. You create us a game, whether it's like a Souls game or not. You create us something exclusive for our platform. We want a new IP. They need to do these deals.
Yeah. Did you guys see the interview, the Cory Barlog interview I dropped in the DM chat like on Saturday?
Yeah.
Basically, Cory Barlog was in Australia, right? And one of the biggest YouTube content creators in Australia somehow got the one-on-one interview with Cory Barlog. And during the interview,
Developer of God of War, right?
yeah, he's the developer of God of War.
Yeah.
So, during the interview, he actually opened up and he actually said that there was parts in the development cycle in God of War that he was changing the gameplay so much that he's like, man, I hope I don't go down as the guy that ruined the God of War franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And, Sony took a chance and they took a chance on him. And man, honestly, I mean, look at the reviews the game is getting. The game looks to be, according to what everybody's saying, the game of the generation. And I just wish, that Microsoft would do that, because a lot of people say, they joke the whole, Halo, Gears, and Forza. How many God of Wars have there been? You know what I mean? 7 God of Wars, right? They reinvented the franchise. This is, maybe the generation-defining game. Microsoft, Gear. What's the latest Gears? Gears 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna tell me that at some point they couldn't innovate and change it up and do something with that franchise? I don't know. It's just a testament to what Sony's been able to do with their franchise and what they allow.
Wait, this would be wait a minute. This would be God of War 7, right? Pretty much the 7th God of War.
Correct.
This would only be like this would only be the 5th Gears of War though.
This is after God of War Ascension. So Ascension,
which number is garbage.
Yeah.
There's a war on.
I mean,
Yeah.
because there's numbers here. Depends on how you look at it.
It's basically, the point I'm trying to make is, I would like for, if they're going to keep releasing, forget about even new IPs, which obviously we all want that. But if they're going to continue to release Halo, Gears, and Forza, take a chance. Take a chance. Do something with it. Take a page out of what Sony did with God of War and deliver something new, even with your existing franchises.
Yeah, and exactly. Like I think I said it last week, in the fact that you don't need to you don't need to have a new IP in order to be successful. Like you could reinvent your IP as it was. Like I think I also used Zelda as a link as an example, because that was a game that traditionally didn't have kind of those elements, and they added in, they reinvented it to be an open world with stamina and everything like that. And now they're doing it with God of War. And we always said that Sony tends to take risks with their games. Look, they did Guerrilla Studios, who made Killzones, and said, "Yeah, go make a open world RPG type game with a whole new, like, not even related in Killzone's like world. Like it's not even something totally different."
I'm gonna ask y'all something. Y'all tell me if I'm tripping or not. Now, y'all don't think that Halo was changed up a little bit as far as the gameplay is concerned, or the story and it being half Master Chief and half Locke?
Gameplay, yeah. It's still
Halo.
I liked Warzone. Warzone added AI to multiplayer, which I think that was the most innovative.
Halo gameplay changed so much to the point. This is where it gets funny. Is that people try to say they don't like Halo 5 because it changed too much, but I felt, and then people say I don't like Halo 5 because it didn't change enough. It is probably I didn't understand the reason. It's like either you want change or you don't. I think Halo's out of the Halo Gears and Forza, Halo's been the one to actually change it up. But the thing is that they'll get met with like mix. Oh well, I don't like that. You can sprint now or aim down sights and whatnot. But it's like, but it's done in a way where it's like you don't have to do it. You can still play classic, but it is there, to use it to modernize the game and whatnot. But I don't know. It's like
the biggest problem was he didn't play Master Chief, the biggest character. Like think of God of War if you don't play Kratos. Like that was a big criticism of Halo.
Halo.
I mean, I my criticism.
But Halo 2, you had Arbiter, for half the game.
And that cliffhanger ending too. That was another crazy.
But isn't Halo 2 considered like one of the best ones along with Halo 3? Like,
I would say Halo 2
mainly
is
for the
probably the
but
best.
Halo 3 is I think Halo 3 is the best.
yeah, my favorite's Halo 3, but yeah.
Yeah, because that was a combination
But the thing is, Halo changed. But the thing is, Halo took so. You got to understand something. When Halo came out, for its time, it really defined what the first-person shooter is. And then what happened is, Call of Duty came out, and it took over the freaking first-person shooter industry, and Halo no longer became that thing. And the last Halo really caught up to Call of Duty as far as gameplay, because everything you could do in Advanced Warfare, per se, you could do in Halo 5. So it was like Halo took so long to say, we got a sprint button now. We got this dash button now. We got this. It took so long to invigorate all these things. And I always say this to all my friends. I say, when you pick up a first-person shooter, it has the Call of Duty control scheme. Whether you want to say it does or not, every single shooter you pick up has a Call of Duty control. The reload button is this. The crouch button is this. The melee button is this. The sprint button. It's really easy because most people play Call of Duty. So when developers go out there and they say, well, Call of Duty's selling, if we can just take their control scheme and put it into our game, when people pick up this game, they're really familiar with the control scheme. Halo took so long to evolve into that I think that's why the market of Halo is not dead. It's still there, but I think what happened is it took longer to evolve, and it let Call of Duty as a big shooter really just get there and stay there for so long in that space. Because a lot of people forget that
third party
Halo was
caught up
the
on
game.
Microsoft is what it is.
We'll go back to what Griffin
That's
was saying.
the other thing.
I really agree with what he was saying is that, when you have this kind of revered game that's coming out, you got to look at the competition and go, like side-eye going, and especially, I don't want to bring up the game, but Sea of Thieves coming off that game and the excuses we had to hear for a week and a half about the content's coming, the Kraken is lacking, all this stuff, and you got to make excuses for it, and God of War just kind of puts it all in, slams it on the table going, best game of the generation, here you go. We don't need excuses. We don't need like, oh well, his kid is going to be DLC down the line,
it's like if they delivered the perfect punch at the perfect time.
Yeah, exactly. His child comes on
It's like,
later on as content.
Can I talk?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, like, regardless what people feel like, I feel like the only real big thing they dropped, like, what they've brought out, there's only a couple. It's like they dropped something with every game they came out to making it a gem. Recore, its overall concept was good, but it wasn't done properly. Halo, I feel like if Halo 5 would have had a better storyline, it would have been way better as a game, because that storyline brings people in, and then people play multiplayer after that. You didn't have that effect because people didn't like the storyline, so it was short-lived.
Yep.
Gears, to be completely honest with you, I didn't even hear a lot about Gears. Weeks later, it was over. Like,
It out, man.
to be completely honest with you guys, I feel like it's time to wrap up Gears for at least 10 years.
Kiss my ass, dude. Yeah. Kiss my ass. Fuck that. You guys could be on that shit now.
That story
No.
was so lame. They sold that enemy character as something was gonna be something. It was such a.
Do you think the Gears 4 story was lame?
Yeah,
the story. Yeah, it was
Story.
weak.
The story.
I thought it was
all right.
Go find the grandma that we just got introduced to, and now she's like. Anyway, I'm not gonna spoil it, but
let me
find the grandma.
Disappointed me that last boss, man. It was terrible.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
All right, so I feel like 343 is on the right path, regardless what people say. I think they good with the Halo franchise. I think Coalition needs to make something new.
They only never. Oh my god, man.
I think Coalition needs to make something new. If they do this Fable reboot successful, I feel like that's a good franchise that could be in a couple years from now.
What the hell does that Fable have to do with the Coalition? They're not touching that game.
I'm talking everything, not just that game, kid.
No, but the the Coalition should leave. Yeah, I don't understand when I play Gear. What was bad about Gears of War 4? Like, I mean, I don't know, but never mind.
I said about the multiplayer. I think
Gears
the
of War
multiplayer was lazy.
Kid, let's be real here. Let's be real here. The only time people talk about Gears is when there's some lame ass YouTube challenge involved. Let's be real here. Okay?
No, that's not true. I disagree because we've been playing. When we play Gears of War, we're playing Gears of War before we were issued a challenge on anything. Nobody. I mean, who's like who was I going on Gears of War? I was going on Gears of War with like Frog for like a whole month. Remember that month where we were just going on? It had nothing to do with like, you know what I mean? We just wanted. It was just like.
I think Gears of War is a cool game. Don't get me wrong, but whenever I talk about Gears of War, and anybody ever talks about Gears of War, whenever I hear about it, it's always about the graphics. Oh man, the graphics this, the graphics that. It's not about the story. It's really not about the game.
I mean,
Gears of War is really
it's Gears of War. Like
what they showed at E3, I enjoyed what they showed. That chick that was in that was at E3, like she really drafted me into that story. But I played like 2 hours of that game. I was just bored. Like I literally dropped it.
Act 3 goes on forever.
It's not that like I just feel like Coalition themselves, that gory style that they do, that shit sells. They could make a good co-op. Like it's like I said multiple times. Microsoft needs to let them make something like the Army of Two. Dude, can you
no? The Army of Two is fucking trash, man.
Yeah.
I'm talking about that kind of style.
That concept.
They were working on something before Gears, though. It was
Shanghai
stealth game.
Yeah, Shanghai. Yeah, maybe that resurrects or something.
At Vancouver Studios, but yeah, I think it was lazy, man. It was a lazy multiplayer. And the story was like.
Okay.
So I felt like that game was like a copy and paste of 3.
It was. It was not even. I complained that they didn't have like environmental kills. And I think the biggest problem too, I think with both Halo and Gears, I think the DLC was weak as hell. Like
I can't say that about Halo.
Well,
I don't
Halo
really
5,
like
wait a
Gears.
second, but listen, Halo 5 did add some stuff, but think about it. How much of that stuff was regurgitated from the community maps of Forge? There was not a lot of
That's literally been every Halo game. What are you talking about?
Well,
in Halo 5,
tell me another time.
Halo 3 had Halo packs. It was until Halo 4.
They've launched free maps, and they're not all from the Forge.
Yeah, but they released actually maps that they made. It wasn't all Forge maps. That's all they did was Forge maps. Yeah, for Halo 5, tell me how many new maps that they actually built that they made. Instead, they were made from like the community. The community.
You lucky ain't at home. You lucky ain't at home.
More have been removed that they made that have been added because they've pulled a bunch of maps out of that.
They made a lot of. I know they made the other map of the ship that flipped over, and then the midship. They did that one. I know they were doing inverse ones, but I can't recall how many that they made themselves. Every time I go into a playlist, I'm always playing on custom maps, like people's remakes and things like that. In Big Team Battle, regular Team Battle, I haven't seen a lot of maps made by them.
But they like
had better DLC, but Gears of War was horrible DLC. I think that was horrible.
That whole season pass thing was awful.
It was. It was so confusing.
Let's go a little bit more deeper. Okay, I feel like ReCore has a lot of potential. Regardless of what a lot of people think, the game itself was trash, but the concept was good. It just needs.
The concept was good. I agree.
It needs to be built up on. It needs to be more story orientated, and it needs to focus on platforming story wise than gameplay. And I feel like that's a hit. But they use let's focus completely on just platforming, and that's all.
If ReCore's platforming is so underappreciated, but
ReCore just was a really poorly optimized game.
It was made with Unity, dog. It was made on like an indie engine. Like that's all I gotta say. It's like
and a lot of games made on Unity, not bad.
No, I'm not saying games made on, but think about it. It's like when you think of Unity, I think of like the freaking idea Xbox. Like who's like blowing off their mic right now? Like,
I don't know.
You're gonna have to.
But I think the whole
look,
thing
it
is
only
that
has,
they're all mediocre. Like everything has been mediocre.
and
coming
see
at it.
that's my point. Is they need to focus on building a franchise and not just trying to spawn 20 of them and see which one sticks.
Well, the other thing about
Crackdown's
like,
the next one.
notice
Add that to the
everything-
mediocrity list.
wait, you said all the games were mediocre that they released?
Yeah, they want.
I
So,
think they
I
are.
think Halo 5 was the
Ev-
best one.
Halo 5 has been their best exclusive they've launched this year. This
Yeah.
this
No,
semester.
Forza Horizon 3 is the best exclusive they launched.
Forza
this year,
Horizon.
but-
Racing
That's
games.
different.
But
Well,
it's not.
That's
It's
hard to
Depends
screw up
on
a
what level
racing
you're
game.
talking about. If you're talking about sales, critically acclaimed, or what you're talking about. If you're talking about just complete sales and overall reception, Halo's been the
yeah,
best.
well, in sales, yeah.
If you're talking about just graphics and what the game brings to the table and overall package, I think Ford is the best racing game series on the planet right now. I honestly think that. I think it's the best.
But the thing is,
But as far as what it gives you,
Okay,
can
hold on,
somebody
hold on,
describe the term mediocre for me though? For because I'm hearing the word mediocre and I'm thinking like, how, Gears of War was mediocre. Like,
Failing to meet
before we-
expectation.
no, hold on.
That would be
Hold on,
mediocre.
Before we describe mediocre to this dude, kid, tell me what you think of the exclusives that they've launched. It doesn't matter if it came out on Windows.
Yeah.
Is not a mediocre game to you. That's what I want to hear.
Of course. I don't think any of them, with the exception of the ones that I'm willing to admit, I can understand why people with Recore would be like mediocre. I can understand why
What was
people
below
believe.
mediocre?
Quantum Break?
Quantum Break was a mediocre. I enjoyed the shit out of that fucking
good,
game.
man.
I don't understand. I think what happens is people take a look back and see what other people are saying about the game, and then they decide, oh, that game's mediocre. I did not see anything wrong with Quantum Break.
Kid,
I did not see anything wrong with Quantum Break.
Quantum Break. Quantum Break was when I knew the quality was.
What was the
downhill,
Metacritic
man.
for Quantum Break?
I don't give a fuck. I don't know. Like I don't know the Metascore from Quantum Break.
The friggin' movie between chapter 1 and chapter 2, and my controller went to sleep.
Yeah.
I knew that
Right.
shit was. I was like, "What the hell is this? My controller's going."
Okay, like
TV show
game.
for me.
well, it's the other thing too. Like you said, you had said, you were like some things are mediocre. Like you were like, when you had made the comment, you were talking about like last year. Sony didn't bring the bangers that you wanted. But when you look at the overall critical acclaim of the games they brought last year, they were huge. They were great games. But they weren't bringing games you really wanted. And I think a lot of people are looking at Microsoft and
games that we
saying,
want. Yeah.
Like, look,
Right.
the only game I will give you 2 games that I feel like were above, borderline above mediocre. And let's say I'm butchering that pronunciation, but fuck everyone in the chat. I can't see you today. But the only 2 games I'll give you is Sunset Overdrive and Rise Center Rome. That's the only 2 I'm willing to give you.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Oh, Lord.
Quantum Break was a 77 on Metacritic.
How the fuck? Wait a minute. Wait. You won't call Rise to the Rome mediocre, but you'll call Quantum Break mediocre.
I'm saying
think
that the concept was good they can build on. You can't build on Quantum Break.
Yeah, you
That's
can!
all you could have done.
You can. It was supposed to be a trilogy.
Quantum Break.
Yeah.
Trilogy.
There's a reason it wasn't a trilogy.
There was the order was supposed to be a trilogy. That didn't. The order was supposed to be a trilogy. A lot of these games that we were supposed to be getting that came out were supposed to be.
trilogy. What happened?
Why hasn't many games that are supposed to be a trilogy haven't had one? I don't know. I don't know. Remedy's not making them anymore.
Holy shit! Knack is gonna be a friggin' trilogy soon.
Here you go. Imagine the chat again. Cuphead is the best game. Is their best game this gen. What do you think about that?
Microsoft pocketing in that
I
money.
can agree.
They're pocketing that money. They're not using.
Well, according to Jazz, Cuphead is mediocre.
Cuphead's the top 3. Cuphead's top 3. Jazz, just because you
It's
Jazz,
just big party games.
Jazz.
Look.
Just because you Jazz.
Say my name.
Jazz. Did you beat Jazz? Did you beat Cuphead?
No, I didn't beat Cuphead.
Then you can't talk shit.
I could talk about what I see, and I see mediocrity.
Oh my god.
And this
That's
is
what
what
I
I
see.
Everyone else disagrees with you.
look,
that's
if you
great.
take
Game
the top
of the generation,
5,
did it get Game of the Generation? Did it get Game?
Come on, man. How many games are gonna get Game of the Generation? Like, come on.
So Cuphead is
time
what
out,
you
time
want
out.
then. You bought a $500 console for Cuphead.
No,
That's what we
and
bought.
see, that's what I.
Well,
think.
Cuphead came out before the Xbox One X, though. Cuphead came out before the Xbox One X.
Yeah, it did.
Cuphead came out 2 months before the Xbox One X, man. Like, come on, we can't use that excuse.
Then you buy the 6 teraflops.
It had nothing to do with the X. It had nothing to do with 6 teraflops. Cuphead's not even enhanced. Like, come on, it wasn't even.
That game was announced like 3 or 4 years ago.
Right, but I think Ryan McCaffrey's point is if you take the top 5 games of people of Xbox, you take the top 5 games of PlayStation, this generation alone, they don't match up in the quality and the overall.
It's just it's
in
bad.
the community.
I'm not
Like,
saying
I will
Cuphead is decent. It was good, but we're talking about Halo and Quantum Break and stuff. But
Look, I will no. I would. I'm sorry.
It's an
I put
arcade
Cuphead
game.
with
It's an
those
arcade
games.
game,
I'm sorry.
guys.
I put Cuphead with those games. Cuphead.
but see, it's an arcade
No,
game. It's on
no,
the level
it's
of
just-
friggin' Ori. It's an arcade.
And guess what? Guess what, Jez? The games that you're talking shit about is the ones that everyone loves.
Quantum Break.
No,
I don't see why.
I'm saying,
Ori.
when I said mediocrity, I say Halo, Quantum Break,
Halo and mediocrity. I don't like the term
mediocrity.
mediocrity. For some reason, the mediocre word is driving me nuts.
It was good. I'm talking about Gears of War. I didn't like Gears of War. It was multiplayer was lacking on that.
Yeah, Matt.
like Gears.
Recently,
Gears. I'm
I
still
think from
enjoying Gears,
Quantum
man.
Break, but
I ain't gonna lie.
I think from Gears of War, from there down, I started seeing it with Quantum Break, and then I saw it with Lucky's Tales, and then I saw it with how they were going with Sea of Thieves. Like, it just seems like their quality control of what they want to put out of their first party, I don't know what they want to do. They seem like ship it out there, get it out there, and and some patch it up or do something like that. Like, I just think from Gears, it's been gone downhill.
Look, I agree with you.
They're
but
trying to fill Game Pass.
But when you look at the quality that Sony's putting out on their first-party studios right now, I mean, it's
Exactly.
Yeah, and
like-
and what's coming down the road.
Well,
And
it's
what's
not
coming
even-
down the road, it's not going to
even
end.
the
Hold up, hold up.
DLC
I
that
got
Sony
something.
put out.
It's
Even
not
the
even first
DLC,
party
man.
studios though. That's the thing. It's not even first party studios. Just look at the games that they have the deals with on their
like
platform.
Insomniac with
Microsoft doesn't
Spider-Man.
even have the Microsoft doesn't even have the deals that Sony has in a lot of the games. And I wish like I said, like Neo's an amazing game. Like, but a lot of people won't give it credit for where it's due on the other side of it, that's what I'm saying. Like, games like that should be a multi-plat game.
Look, to be honest with
Persona is an amazing game.
But Lost Legacy
DLC.
DLC, that was something else. Like, that wasn't even
Yeah,
I mean,
Lost Legacy
full
came
game.
out as a standalone
Look,
game.
we've established that Naughty Dog knows how to make Uncharted. Okay, like,
And Last of
Well,
Us.
it's not.
And
It's not
Last of
just
Us.
it's Naughty Dog. It's just the games that come out, whether they're first party or whether they have the second party deals.
that's because at the end of the
doesn't
day,
have the same deals and the same game quality.
that's because at the end of the day, Sony latched on. They found out what their player base wants, and they kept making games based off what their player base wants. Microsoft had
Yeah.
that going last gen, and they abandoned it at the beginning
Yep.
of this
They
gen.
didn't. They're not giving people what they wanted. They're
You
not.
know what it is? It's more than just that. Hear me out. It's almost like Sony inks a deal, whether it's first party, second party, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Let's just use second party in this case, like Insomniac with Spider-Man. It just seems like any second party deal that Microsoft does doesn't work out in that same capacity. But it almost seems like Sony, every single deal, it's like they, with calm and care, and they take their time, and somehow it just it pans out. You know what I mean? And it's
The reason why it's panning out is because
go ahead.
I said the reason why it's panning out is because the console's selling well. That's the reason why it's panning out.
Yeah.
And it's also perception because
So
how many
people
games
might put up with more
has
stuff that Sony has to give because the
Right, but
yeah.
but it's also perception. How many games has Insomniac made for other platforms other than Sony? Look at that.
I mean, they
Sony,
made Sunset Overdrive.
was right, but Insomniac was looked at really as a first party studio.
For what? For one game? They've made multiplats, a ton of multiplats though.
No, they made a
What
lot for
multiplats can-
PlayStation.
Well, no. What I'm saying, no. What games have Insomniac made outside of a Sony platform for other games consoles from Nintendo or Microsoft since their beginning?
I mean, they weren't godly tier games. I mean, they're.
But the perception is they're a Sony studio, so the whole.
How's that
thing
the perception? I never knew they belonged to Sony.
Oh, here we go.
Okay,
Jack, move in the
hold-
chat. The difference is Sony second party deals, they own the IP. MS second party deals, they let the devs keep the IP.
Yeah, that's why
That's not always
Sunset. That's
the
why
case.
Sunset.
That's not always the
But as,
case.
look, But here's the thing: if you didn't know Insomniac wasn't like when you looked at Insomniac, you look at all the games they made, you would have thought they were a Sony first-party studio. If you didn't, that's you problem because that's the perception. You know?
Wait, how's that me a problem if it wasn't the truth?
You problem.
Well, you name me any games that Insomniac has made outside.
What does that have to do with anything? It's either I've never heard that Insomniac belonged to Sony. I knew they made Ratchet and Clank, and I know Ratchet and Clank belonged to PlayStation, but that didn't tell me that Insomniac belonged to PlayStation.
Okay, what games did they make?
Did they make like Fuse or some bullshit like that? I don't like they made a couple of games. Why does that have to do with like I don't understand what the question is supposed to prove?
Is the question the whole thing I'm trying to get through is perception. Perception is a lot, right? When people perceive something to be, it is to be. You may not think it is, but when people say, when you see a mom or a dad walk into a store, and it's like I said before, and we had this conversation last week, and the perception is to you as a gamer, as more of a, let's just say a hardcore gamer, the Xbox One X is the best place to play multiplayer.
Oh, not this again. Not this again. No, not this again. I'm sorry, Frog. I get it, man. I don't want to do this again.
Let me finish.
Oh, no.
Literally going to go through this and just say you're wrong.
The perception is to you, right? But the perception is to people who are out there buying a new console that when they see people playing these games, when they see the commercials, that PlayStation is the ish, that's the place to play the games. So the perception is what's going down. It's kind of like with the PS2 generation. It's kind of like with the PS1 generation.
They have the mind share.
How many Sea of Thieves commercials have you seen?
They don't even have
I've
the mind
seen God of
share,
War.
it's
It's
the
been all
market
over my
share.
freaking
Exactly.
Last generation, it was the Xbox. Think about every time
That's
you
true.
saw a movie or you saw a commercial, you saw a kid playing with the controller. It was an Xbox controller.
That's true.
So it's perception, and so it's not even the mind share. It's really the market
It is
share.
the perception.
Sony.
It's perception of
everything.
perception is everything. I get that, but I didn't know there was a perception that Insomniac belonged to Sony. I didn't connect those two. I only connect I didn't connect those two.
I actually see that a lot.
How would you not? Because how many other than Ratchet and Clank, what does Insomniac make for fucking PlayStation now, other than the newly announced Spider-Man?
They made Resistance, didn't they?
Oh, okay, Resistance. Okay.
People attach Insomniac to Sony. Why? Because that's where they've been.
I don't.
The only game when you heard Insomniac games, they're coming to Xbox. They're coming to 10. When I heard that Sunset Overdrive was coming to Xbox, I was like, oh, well, Insomniac is making a game for Xbox. Interesting. But for the longest time, a lot of people would think that Insomniac was a Sony-owned studio. That's the
Ted
perception.
Price was always like interviewed for all his games.
Yeah,
and they made all the Resistance, then they did Ratchet. They've been
making PlayStation games forever.
That's two IPs. They're on their third IP for PlayStation. So from two IPs, we got the perception that they belong to PlayStation. That Insomniac.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought that.
It's not even two IPs. It's the amount of games they've made.
It's two IPs spanning across two IPs: Resistance and Ratchet and Clank.
Whenever I saw
Ratchet and Clank games are.
I'm not talking about the game count. I'm talking about the IP. The IP. Ratchet and Clank is one IP. It's one IP, dude.
The perception is that they were a first-party studio. Till they made Sunset Overdrive, people didn't know that they were this studio that was second party. They were like, wait, these guys aren't owned by Sony. A lot of people thought Insomniac was owned by Sony. A lot of people, until they made Sunset Overdrive, a lot of people didn't know.
And I think that was a
perception
strategy on Microsoft on pulling Ted Price on stage, because that was one of those.
That's smart.
To get like a guy that was associated with Sony and put him on stage and say he's making a game exclusive for us. You know, that doesn't exist anymore. They don't do that anymore.
Somebody said this man forgot Scarlet Dragon was made by Insomniac.
Do that stuff. Just like Kojima, when they used to bring Kojima out on stage, Microsoft was like, hey, this is a PlayStation guy, but look, he's making Metal Gear Solid for us too. And, you know, they did that stuff. Same thing with Final Fantasy when they said Final Fantasy 15.
I'm sorry.
Microsoft went over there and they seeked out competition, and they brought people over to their stage, to their platform that were primarily perceived as Sony people, to kind of take a little bit out of the Sony take a little bit out of the Sony group. They don't do that anymore. Now they're begging to be over there. They're like, hey, can we put our stuff with you? Like, we want to be with you. We love your games. I can't wait to play them on Friday. Like, this is what it's come to. And people say, yes, it's great to be a gamer. But the thing is that you have a device out there that is directly competing with somebody. You know, you cannot take everything that device is for and go put it elsewhere for better, for free. You can't do that stuff and be successful. Yes, that option's an option, but guess what? That option's going to be the lowest option on the totem pole. So, would you rather have a decent option across platforms, or do you want to have an option that's like, yeah, it's an option, but you could eat this incredible burger over here, or you can eat trash burger over here. It's an option.
Trash burger, damn.
You're gonna go to the trash burger, right? And it's just like you can't take the device that you developed for, especially the most powerful device, the most powerful console ever made. We should be seeing shit pouring, like bleeding off our screen with what Microsoft should be delivering to us. Instead, we're here arguing about games that came out 4 years ago because they got nothing to talk about today.
Well, they do just choose not to. But
choose not to. What are we talking about? Let's talk Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
The content is coming. It's coming.
Yeah, there's a roadmap. What is that everybody was asking for? There's a roadmap. There's a roadmap. There's a roadmap. Did you bother to watch it?
I need to explain the roadmap. Ready? In May, a new AI threat is coming.
Yes.
Okay.
Isn't that what you wanted?
Wait. In the summertime, another new AI threat is coming.
Yes.
So, pay $10, subscribe, and you'll pay, and you wait and see what's coming because.
There's people who bought the game for $60. Let's not forget that still exists.
I refunded it. I was able to refund it.
It's a friggin' new AI threat. A new AI threat. Oh my god! I don't know what content. It's amazing.
Because you guys were sick of the skeletons. You wanted more than skeletons to fight.
It could be another skeleton. Though.
Wait a second. Because they have the time. They could tease it. You know why? Because they got all the time in the. We got all. Just keep subscribing. We'll just tease. We'll just keep teasing. Come on. I'm sick of the teasing. I'm sick of the talk. I'm sick of the Inside Xbox. I'm sick of Major Nelson's blue suits.
You're sick of everything, dude. We know this. Yeah, and we know this. This is why every time Xbox even has like good news, you can't even tune it. You just phase it out with bad news. Like it's what it is, man.
Come on.
It is what it is, man.
They go like this. Here's a game. Boom. Goodbye. We'll talk to you at E3. They go, AI content, AI threats are coming, guys. They're coming. Why are you teasing it? Like we got guess what? New backwards compatibility games. Tune in next week. What is
God damn if they have other services they can work. Like my God, it's like
teasing. That's what I'm saying. Why?
Jez speaks the truth other than his Cuphead slander.
I didn't do any Cuphead slander. I said it was. I didn't beat Cuphead. I can't talk. Game mechanics back.
See, hey, somebody said in the chat, and I agree. Jazz wants better. It's the same. I want better.
I'm sick of I'm sick of the PR stuff.
I think we all want better.
Yeah. Back to what Griffin said. That Phil Spencer PR thing. He basically told you right there and then, nothing's coming at E3. That's all I got out of it. How'd
you get that?
Because it's gonna take time. I do not.
No, but what about? Did you read the follow up? Did you read Xbox Wire this week, or his follow up about his single player comment?
Yes, and it said yes, they're gonna show premieres of games that are not announced yet, not exclusive games.
Yeah.
They could show the premiere of the new Battlefield.
So Splinter Cell, they'd be like, "Ooh, Splinter Cell's coming." We'd be like, "But it's on all platforms."
They're not locking down Splinter Cell.
This is what I got from Phil Spencer's comment. What I got from Phil Spencer's comment was, "It's not coming this gen." That's what I got.
Exactly.
How?
That's what I got. It's not coming this gen because if it takes these long to make these new IPs, you got to wait till next gen.
Oh my God, man!
A new IP is not coming this gen unless it's something they're buying in the from second party or something like that.
Exactly.
The only way.
You mean new IP? What do you mean? Like 4 new IPs came this gen. What are we talking about? Like what? It's like come on, man! That's happened. Yo, I swear to God, this happens way too often. I will be arguing with somebody, right? And they'll literally omit everything that just came out and just be like, "Oh, like this." The one person, the last Xbox exclusive, was Gears of War. I'm like, what? I'm like, Sea of Thieves just came out 3 weeks ago. Maybe you may not like it, but it still came out. Like, come on, man. It's like
Hey, Smooth. The
Oh,
one
no.
He'll cheer up when he plays God of War.
perception.
He'll cheer up.
What do you mean? I'm not upset. I mean, I'm not. I've never. Here's the thing. Let's. This is the thing I want to talk about.
You know, Smooth gonna be streaming.
Here's this is
as soon as this ends.
this is the thing I want to talk about as far as
Screen clip, right? He's gonna be like this.
this is the thing I want to talk about because this is what bugs me. This is what absolutely bugs me. Is
I wanna hear
that
this.
somebody
I wanna hear this.
they're saying I'm too loud? I'm sorry. I
gotta hear what Smooth
Hey,
says. I wanna hear
Yabbing
what
Craft. Xbox slogan should be E3 awaits.
E3 waits. Yeah. I hate the whole like E3 thing. I really do. But
How you hate E3? That's the only time we get news.
no, I didn't say I hate E3. I said I hate the whole E3 thing. Like how everything has to be done at E3. That's the
I
thing.
agree.
Jay
Microsoft
Barnes said
keeps
you taking
teasing,
that with Blackberry too much.
They hang
The
out with carrots.
this is the problem I hate. Like
sorry, man. Shout out to
the way that people approach when it comes to like this whole Xbox PlayStation thing, right? People will sit there and say, you know, you should replace. Like people talk to me and now I'll tell them, I'm like, hey, I have a PlayStation, I have a Switch, I have a PC, I have an Xbox, I have them all. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong. But that's not enough. It's not good enough. They want me to get rid of my Xbox. They want my Xbox to be a secondary console. They want me to talk shit about it while playing everything on the PlayStation. And that's what the problem. I don't care how many PlayStation exclusives come out or how many good first party games they get.
I just have one question.
Wait,
It
will. Getting exclusive does not mean the console's gonna replace like my Xbox as a machine that I play games on. It's just not gonna happen. I will play every exclusive they release if I like them, but I'm not gonna just turn around and start playing fucking everything else on it. It's just
When
not.
you gonna play? I got a question for you.
What's
Why
up?
can't you just play everything on PlayStation?
I can. I just won't. Here's the reason why. People forget. All right, it's probably easier to sell a regular person a PlayStation over Xbox, but to try to sell an existing Xbox customer to replace his Xbox with a PlayStation, it's kind of hard to do because now you want me to abandon my fucking library, my accolades, all the shit, and then what? I'm gonna just replace them on my PlayStation and PC? That shit ain't happening.
Hey,
Like who?
your gamer scoring to the PlayStation trophy
Hold on,
system, man.
but-
No,
No.
you can make his accolades on the Switch, on the
you
phone. You can continue.
No, you cannot. You cannot. Oh my god. Wow. Minecraft have Xbox achievements. I begged Nintendo and Xbox to do something so I can get achievements on my Switch. Wow, they finally do it with Minecraft and now, oh, you can get achievements on the Switch. Like, come on. It's not that big of a fucking deal. Like, come on. It's Minecraft.
But I disagree with
Right.
that.
Here's a question. though. I do have a question.
make a
I have a
video of that,
question.
Smooth. You
I
gonna
have a
see.
question. If you really, really enjoy, the achievement system, things of that nature, why don't you just like play on Windows 10?
Oh my god, because I don't own every game on Windows 10. People just automatically assume that every Xbox game that you ever owned for the last 4 or 5 years, or fucking dating back 10 plus years, just magically appears on my PC with all the achievements and supports and save files. No, it doesn't fucking work like that.
Steam
It
achievements is
doesn't.
terrible.
It does not work like
It
that.
doesn't work like that.
Like, come
Because you-
on.
No, what I was gonna say is you were saying like it's hard to have an existing Xbox player go over to PlayStation. Well, I would beg to differ. I
No.
think that's why
I
it
didn't
sells the
say go
PlayStation.
over the PlayStation. Have it replace it like okay, the PlayStation's now going to be like my console where I'm playing everything on. And an existing customer who is already locked into the ecosystem, it's not hard to sell an Xbox fan a PlayStation. They'll buy a PlayStation. Who wouldn't buy a PlayStation? But it's just thought, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because I was in a hip hop gamer stream. Now I wasn't in the actual stream. I was in the comments, and the whole chat was all about trying to get the PlayStation to be my primary console. I'm like, don't you guys get it? Like
I think it needs to be a primary console.
but they were saying I was robbing myself of like options because I'm not playing everything there.
No,
and I'm like, that makes no sense.
No
I
sense.
look.
Yeah,
agree
that's
with
stupid
you, right?
as hell.
It doesn't need to be your primary place to play. Play where you're comfortable. But what I will say to this is, a lot of 360 people have came over and they bought PlayStations mainly for one reason: for esports. Call of Duty was the biggest thing last generation with the 360. and then it became synonymous with
360.
it was the Call of Duty. It was the shooter box. Everybody knew. And then this generation, when PlayStation came around, they got all these deals with Call of Duty. A lot of people I know so many people I can name on my friends list that went from 360 and jumped over to PlayStation. One reason only, it was because the Kinect. They hated that Kinect. They were like, I don't want to pay an extra $500 for a camera I'm never going to use. But a lot of my friends also jumped over because they're big time Call of Duty players, and they were like, "Ooh, Matt's first on PlayStation. I'm jumping to PlayStation." So if a game, the market is kind of like it kind of dictates. So when Microsoft was doing great with the Call of Duty marketing deals last generation, and some of the deals they had, Sony got a lot of those marketing deals, and the tide just kind of flipped. And I think that the user base and the user install base we're seeing with as far as console sales, it's always been like this. Sony, has always been a bigger juggernaut. I think last generation, Microsoft really caught lightning in a bottle, and I think it was great for them. I personally, honestly, I can tell you this. The original OG Xbox, I played that over the PlayStation 2. Even though the PlayStation 2 had a bigger library and was the better selling
Not
console.
Me.
Do you know why? Do you know why I did? Because of Xbox. That's why I played it. That's where my friends were playing.
I feel like why do I feel like Sony has like these ninjas that go out and look games that they think that their audience would like, and I feel like Microsoft used to do that. Like, I don't know if it was Peter Moore. I don't know if it was
Peter Moore.
Like, was going after the things like, our players need that game. We need that in our portfolio. And they started doing it in the beginning of the Xbox One. Like, they did that with Titanfall. Who went to Titanfall and said, I want you to make a game for
Peter
me?
Moore. Because Peter Moore took over EA at that point.
People went to PlayStation first.
Peter Moore was at EA though. He went from Microsoft to EA. That was his favor. Like, all right, I'm gonna treat my ex-employees with this.
Yeah, so, Peter Moore was
a big down Titanfall.
Well, I don't know. I thought they funded Titanfall. I know. I'm saying, who decided to bring that to? Who picked that out? Who picked that?
Oh my God!
I want to come to because we need that. Who did that stuff? Because that person that did that stuff is not. There's the person we need. Who went out and said Lucky's Tale? That's what I want to know. Who's that person?
Shannon Loftus.
I want that.
Shannon Loftus.
We need a flip there because
Shannon Loftus is still employed by Microsoft.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, yo. Shannon Loftus will be the complete downfall to any. Do exclusive.
Whatever her division is,
Shannon Loftus, Terry Myerson is responsible for the downfall of Xbox.
I guarantee you, another year with Shannon Loft, we're gonna get like a brand new Barbie exclusive. We might just get that.
I want to know.
Disney Rush 2.
Disney Rush.
I'm legit like Disney Adventures and Disney Rush. I fuck with those games.
But like, if that's the thing is that's hilarious is that they come on guys. Like, we're still talking. We don't know about Crackdown 3. And I don't know. I know Lucky's Tales is a joke and it's not a serious game, but they announced that game at E3 and it launched right on time. Come on, dog. The game probably what? Come on, man. Why are you doing that, Jazz? It's like come on, man. With the game, how can they do that with
Microsoft did. Listen, not one Microsoft first-party studio made Super Lucky Tales. They just published the game. That's all. They just published it. Like, hey, yeah, we'll publish this for you. Like, I mean, it could take me 10 years to write a book, but if I can get, I don't know, Barnes & Noble to publish it, they'll publish it. But somebody can write a book in like 2 weeks and still get Barnes & Noble to publish it. It's like, you can't do that. You can't compare the people. Was it
DLC for that game too? Like, I can't believe.
Yeah, but come on, we can't do that.
Weird. I'm not gonna just say Lucky Tales is the bane of it's the end of Xbox. I'm just saying that it's amazing how that game was just announced at E3, launched, had DLC, done.
Because the game was done back in like July. It was nothing like, you know what I mean? It didn't take much to make that game, man.
They delayed it to November as a launch title.
Confused as fuck right now. I think Microsoft is super confused because last generation, if I remember, all the talk was Microsoft or Xbox is just a shooter box. So this generation, they tried tried to go all over the map with the Rise and the Sunset Overdrive and
the
And
quantum
it didn't work.
breaks, the
Right, and it
recourse.
works.
Got up with
Like,
But it's unfair that it didn't work because it's like they've had diverse games.
It's not that
Right.
it's unfair. It didn't work last
They just
generation.
haven't been
The
good
third-party
diverse
deals were
games.
bigger
Haven't
than.
really been
I mean,
good.
see, I don't see.
It's not unfair. That was their
This
fault.
whole,
Last generation, Microsoft inked so many deals with third-party companies instead of making their own big IPs and
They're
existing
paying for it now.
franchises. And then
you
with Sony-
forget Microsoft is
I think it's
American,
just the
right?
Studios.
No,
You forget
but that's
Microsoft
the
is
thing.
American, right?
But that's the thing. Microsoft. I'm not gonna honestly speak from my perspective. A lot of people don't like Microsoft. I love Xbox, but I hate Microsoft. I love Xbox,
That's
but
true. A
I
lot of
don't
people
like Microsoft. And I think a lot of people don't like Microsoft as a company. But the name Xbox, when people
It was cool.
associate
Xbox was different, and now
Xbox,
that
right, and I think this generation, the Xbox is more associated with Microsoft more than ever, and I
Yeah.
think that's just take. And I when people say PlayStation, yeah, we can say Sony PlayStation, but people say PS4, they always just it's an acronym, right? Xbox is Xbox, but this generation, Microsoft pushed more Microsoft than Xbox.
Yes, they did.
And I've
They
been
put
saying
more
that. I've been
Windows
saying that
into
since
it.
the beginning when they came on the stage and it was like Xbox do this and Xbox do that and we can do TV and we can. And I was like, I don't want that shit. I just want to play games. I just want to play games. When they came and that really bothered me. I was like, you're doing too much Windows stuff. You're trying to be too much Microsoft. Just be a game console. Just be a
Yeah,
game
and they're
console.
giving you games now, but they're just giving you me already.
All
They're
right.
not giving you the new stuff.
I want to move
And-
on. I want to
and
move
no,
on.
one thing I want to say about E3 thing is like everybody's like, wait to E3. Wait, Microsoft has the games coming, and it's like, who's making them? That's what I want to know. Who's like we just got this, and we'll transition to that new announcement of that guy coming over. For
I
the
just have-
studio.
I do have
Who's
something to
making
say
them?
about
They got
that.
4 studios, 5 studios.
I do have something to say about that.
Who?
Some of the biggest games that was celebrated that Sony had last year were all second party. Bought.
Yeah, but Microsoft needs that.
Yeah, but we just criticized them for having a bunch of like.
time.
No, that's what I'm saying. But the year before last, when people said that, we didn't know. I mean, obviously we knew about Persona 5. We didn't know about the Persona 5.
Hellblade.
What is Hellblade? Nier. I mean, those was the biggest juggernauts last year, and
Neo.
none of those are made by Sony games.
Yeah, without those, if those was, if those were all multi, if those was all multiplats the year of last year, what does Sony's first party output look like? Like, what does their exclusive look like in 2017?
Horizon Zero
It
Dawn.
would be-
Horizon Zero Dawn. It's like it's Horizon Zero Dawn, pretty much.
But I mean,
let's
that's
just-
one of the best rated games this generation.
right.
But that's
Yeah,
what
89 on Metacritic.
but they make
And
those other games come to that.
And that's
console,
amazing.
so
I
they
wish those
balance
games
it
were
out.
multiplat. I
They
wish those
balance it
games were
out.
multiplat. But the thing is, and it's perception once again, is
Microsoft's
where those. Let's just say those
Microsoft's
games.
balancing their stuff out with preview games and
Right.
backwards compatibility. Sony was balancing out with Neo and Nia. That's how they were balancing out the differences between first party output.
But let's go with the Kids movie saying if
they were
if you
doing.
if,
Sorry, go ahead.
by Kiss Move's logic, let's just say all these games last year were multiplayer, right? With the exception of like Horizon Zero Dawn. They would be critically acclaimed games. They'd be everywhere to play them, but the perception is still going to be
3MG
the
wants
best.
in. Just saying, 3MG
The
wants
best
in the
place
podcast.
the best place still going to be to play them is going to be the PlayStation. They're going to sell better on the PlayStation. When you look at Call of Duty numbers, and I use Call of Duty as an example.
All right, hold on. I don't want to talk
biggest
about that. Though.
Well, hold
I
on.
really
I'm talking
don't.
about- but it's one of the biggest selling. Well, you brought it up.
No, I just said, what does their first party look like? That's all. Like I said, if
But
you
even
took all those,
even if you talk about what
second-
their first party looks like,
I'm just saying because the thing is, the whole thing was when you those games is like Xbox don't have any games, right? And PlayStation had all the games because a lot of those games were only on PlayStation's console without being
Right, they were
first party
second-party
games.
deals.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's
And
why I'm
that's
like,
what
it's
Microsoft
like they would pretty much almost have nearly the same output last year. If for example, if Nier somehow magically appears to finally go to Xbox, then you're like, well, damn. I was like, well, that kind of sucks because in 2017 these all were exclusive, and you thought, wow, PlayStation had all of these exclusive games.
At the
No,
end
it'll
of the
be
day,
great.
though, at the end of the day, regardless that happened, regardless that they weren't,
Yeah.
that some of them were timed, Sony is rising way higher because of the damage they did last year.
Exactly.
And because they had all these timed exclusives, and they had some of these, Persona 5, that's never come to Xbox. We can agree on
Nah,
that.
I don't want that shit anyway. Like I know it sounds like a typical Xbox, but I don't give a fuck about no damn Persona. I don't want anything from Atlas. I don't want none of that. No.
Hey, don't
Hey, Riggy want to come in here, bro.
Hold on, no. I'm sorry. I definitely rocks with Ricky, but the thing is, I've been trying to get back to Griffin. Like, he's the guest today, and I've been trying to get back to him for a while, but we keep fishing along this whole shit.
It's all good.
Where's Ricky? But I can't do it right now. I mean, we can try to set something up, but yeah, I forgot what the hell I wanted to say. Griffin. Okay, because I was trying. We had an opportunity to segue into this, but we couldn't. So what I wanted to talk about or ask Griffin about, and I don't know if you got. I probably didn't watch the video on it yet, if you have one. But on the recent move that Microsoft did with Daryl Gallagher and what his E3 announcement means, because they hired him, but they want to tell us more about this hire at E3. What do you think that means? Like,
I mean, I'm guessing they're going to use him in order to lead some project they're working, because he's the one responsible for the Rise of the Tomb Raider deal with Microsoft, from what I read. So I have a feeling they're going to basically take him out on stage and basically say, Rise of the Tomb Raider, the amazing game you played back in 2015, well, this guy who basically ran that entire operation is now going to be making this exclusive for us this day forward, first party exclusive to the Xbox. And I think that's what it's going to be. They're going to have him heading some sort of project in terms of a first party game. I don't really see him like going into the leadership at all. I think they're going to keep him on game related projects.
I think they're going to give him a whole studio.
I think they're going to give him a whole studio.
Yeah, I can see that.
Who?
I think
Daryl Gallagher, because he was think about where he's coming from. I don't think he just goes in because he don't just take any job. He went from being the head of Crystal Dynamics for multiple years, right? Like 10, 15 years, and then he goes to Activision, another freaking money juggling property, and then leaves Activision and then joins Microsoft. Now you don't go to when you're in that position, you don't just go to job. You go and you're taking something you're getting something out of it. You know what I mean? And let's say Microsoft is quote unquote desperate at this time on the games one. So he's probably in a position, how when what's his name? Now I'm not going to compare him to Kojima, even though I think Kojima is overrated. When he got free from the slave camp of Konami, and boom, phone ringing, Sony, they got him, threw him on stage. We know the game ain't even touched yet, but show us what the hell you're working on, and it's a PlayStation exclusive. It's something like that. It's
something like that. Not
that's
just a studio.
That's what I feel like. I feel like, believe it or not, and this is gonna sound crazy, but I think if you're gonna announce this to tell us more, or share more with us at E3, I think they already got something to show. I don't think it's gonna release it, but I think they got something to show. They already got a studio name, a team, and we're gonna see it. We're gonna get an announcement of this game and the studio the same day.
I have to disagree with Jez. Yeah, I know you're about to run your mouth. I can already hear it in your voice. I have to disagree just from the way that they worded that sentence. They said that they're going to show games coming in the future. Mm-hmm. They've been pretty, when it comes to wording of stuff, especially E3, they've stayed away from that terminology. They don't really do the future shit anymore. And it's kind of weird that he worded it that way, because I think we're going to get some CGI cutscenes in a couple games that's coming out in a couple years. I think they're going to abandon
it. It says 2018 and beyond, so usually that's until the next E3. So it's like spring, I think.
No,
Microsoft has never shown things that have been that far out.
They will this
What do you mean? All the games we're getting now were shown 4 years ago.
Because they've been getting delayed. They were getting delayed. I mean, that's different than announcing a game that's not coming out for years from now. That when a game was slated to come out in 2017 gets delayed to 2018. That's different than what you're asking them to do. You're asking them to show a game that they know is not coming out to 3 years, like what Sony does. They never did that. They always talk about their fall and whatever's coming out in the spring. Now, if the game gets delayed, then it gets delayed. But they always focus on the holiday and maybe springtime. They never really go beyond that. Maybe they'll go next holiday if they announce like a Halo
fact
trailer.
the fact that they use the word beyond, you don't use that kind of terminology for a year later. You just don't.
Yeah, I agree.
They can. That's fine. But they don't say
I think
exclusive. No, they don't
say
say
they're in a
they've
position
gotten.
where they have to announce shit like that. Shit that's way
They
ahead
have
in
to,
advance.
but we'll see.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think this is the E3. I think that they realize the importance of this particular E3.
But who's working
And
on
almost calling it kind of like the God of War effect, man. Like the flag that Phil Spencer's gotten on Twitter from with Ryan
The
McCaffrey.
guy
game's
dead
not
is
even out
hiding in an
yet.
Xbox
Imagine when the
bunker
game
underneath
comes
their
out.
headquarters.
Exactly.
No,
Where
but
is
Jez,
it
come on.
working?
Why is it hard to believe that they're probably
God of
just
War
gonna
thing.
hire second party studios as always? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
and I
like
said,
that's
second party
that,
studios is great,
there's
but it
nothing to hide with that. It's just like, all right, they hired. Oh, who knows? Like, you know what I mean? They probably finally gave something like, hey, Boss Key, we'll have you work on this, even though I highly doubt it. But it could be some shit like that. It's like, I expect Microsoft, if they're going to announce anything new, if it's not Halo, Gears, or Forza, or something from Rare, I expect a complete independent second party to do it. Like independent studios working on State of Decay 2. Undead Lab doesn't belong to Microsoft, but State of Decay 2 does belong to Microsoft. That's a Microsoft IP. Like, I know we're gonna get like was it like Ori? It's not a Microsoft studio that's making a game. It's an independent studio that's making a game. So I mean, there's second party developers. Was it Armature Studios who did Recore? It's a Microsoft IP, but it was an independent studio they hired to make it. So I mean, I wouldn't be like
I'm just
surprised.
thinking if
Like
a big studio like working on a big game, like you could get like a Recore under the radar, but like if you had a big studio working on a big second party game, like how Remedy was, there would be some leaks about it. But there's been no leaks of studios though, except for the Playground getting their new thing. See, like we don't have more of those. If I had some more leaks of things of those kind of things, like we had with Fable, and not just Fable, I mean like studios built, or like Playground Games, and they had no new studio. Those big things, like 100 dev studio, those wouldn't really go under the radar. That they're kind of like surprise, like I don't know. It could happen. But
I mean,
I'm just saying,
remember there was
if
like
it does happen, it's
rumors
gonna be like, I don't think it's gonna be huge. Like I don't think it's gonna be like 5 and 6 games. It might be like 1 or 2 games, and they need to bring a lot. Like I know everybody wants to see them like their roadmap, because you want to see them announce 4 and 5 new games that are coming out. I don't know if they're ready right now for that. I don't feel comfortable. After seeing Phil Spencer's tweet, I don't feel comfortable that they're even ready to show. I even went back to look at their like what they were hyping up last year. I know it was Project Scorpio, but they were hyping up like, you're gonna wait to E3, guys. Wait to E3. You think everybody complaining about even Ryan McCaffrey's thing? Phil Spencer could have just said, you'll see more at E3. They're not even teasing E3 as a way to announce games. They haven't teased E3 for games all this year at all.
it's April. I ain't want to hear about.
Go back.
Think about. Listen.
Dude,
I know. I'm listening. But here, I don't want to hear about E3 in January, February, March, and hell, I don't even want to hear about it in April. Like, no, I'm not doing. No.
January 2017.
Yeah, but that was the year of the Scorpio. It was the year of the Scorpio. That was everything everybody was waiting for.
Lineup. I just looked at it before the podcast.
Yeah, he liked them before they got canceled. I liked their games lineup before the cancellations happened or in the delays.
He did talk about E3 and liked their games lineup in January 2017, like early last year.
And when was E3? June?
Yeah. So
all right, a lot of things change. Shit changes. Shit changes.
I know, but
shit changes.
Games at E3. They're not teasing games at E3 this year. He's saying it's gonna.
He likes his games lineup. He likes what they were gonna show at E3. It's like, okay.
Yeah, did he say he likes what he's gonna show? At
no. But you didn't like what they showed at last year at E3. Somebody can say, "Oh, I like what we're gonna show at E3," but when they finally show it, you may not like it.
Well, they showed 42 games last year. He liked it. But I'm saying this.
But
year,
you didn't like it.
It doesn't matter what I like.
Yeah, but so what? Now you're worried that he's not saying I like my games lineup this year. Now you're worried.
I think they would say tune into E3 for more game. Like people are concerned about games. They don't want to be. Don't you think that any one of those guys would be like, yo,
Jez,
E3,
you make a conspiracy theory out of all these things.
Oh
like,
my
this
God,
is crazy.
really? Okay.
Yes.
I feel a bit coming.
Well, it's something else I wanted. It's something else
Okay.
I wanted to say real quick.
They're not teasing games at E3. It takes time, right? Does anybody else agree?
All right, so they're not going to. All right, so nothing's going to be.
I agree.
Nothing's going to be shown at E3 in 2018.
I'm not
So
saying that.
pretty.
I'm saying that if they had a lineup that excited about, they might do teasers. I know Aaron Greenberg would. Yo, tune into E3, especially people.
It's April, dog. You might hear this shit in next month. When shit get ready to leak. When shit start getting ready to leak.
Hyping up the venue.
Because it's the first time their whole shit is taking place in a complete separate area. Oh my god, Jazz, my god!
I mean, nobody goes to E3 for the theater. They go to see the games.
Addict get a talk.
Exactly. Thank you, Griffin. Listen to your guest. Listen to your guest right there.
I don't care about the guest. Let me talk.
Griffin,
go ahead, man.
Truth.
Go ahead.
The guest of honor.
I don't understand how you expect. Hold up. I don't understand how you expect them to be hyping something when they literally just announced the date that they're having E3 at. They literally just did that, like yesterday.
Holy crap! Do I gotta get my phone?
Yeah, they announced that back in March.
I see what you're saying. But what I was gonna say is,
tune into E3 for games. Oh my goodness!
Today
was the first time they talked about it.
That's exactly how every E3 works. I don't understand what you.
Look what we're criticizing.
The greatest games lineup. They were hyping that up months ahead.
Thank you, guest. Thank you.
Yeah, the greatest games lineup. Yeah, because we knew we were getting a form of Halo,
Hopefully
a form of Gears, and a form of Forza in the same year. In the same year.
I'm just curious, Jez. Did you
somebody's
tweet?
Oh yeah.
Addict, are you telling me that this is a me problem?
I'm not saying it's a problem. If you would let me speak, you would know what kind of problem it is.
I'm looking facts up on my phone.
Look, I'm just curious. Did you expect them to have a detailed tweet? This is what we're announcing.
Wait, whose phone's about to ring?
It's my phone.
Did you expect the lineup? What they starting out with, what they're gonna end with, everything in between? That's what it sounds like you expected.
No, you're twisting what I said. I did not say that.
All right, dude, my only problem.
Jez tripping, man. Jez is tripping.
My only problem with Jez's thing, I feel like you're making a problem. You're out of everything. You're mad. Well, you're not. I'm not gonna say you're mad, but you're talking about literally them hyping up their games lineup or the lack of thereof in the month of April about E3.
You think if they would have had the games?
Come on, man! And then you criticize them for talking about their new venue, Microsoft Theater, for the first time.
Griffin was right about that.
All right. Oh, so the Griffin bought that up. It's like, why wouldn't they? It's like when Sony first did their freaking shit in a theater, where you can go to the movies and watch Sony. Nobody was hyping that up. It's like when some things are done for the first time, or you're doing something new with your showcase for the first time, you want to let people know about that. It's like I just don't understand how it's mid-April. And and you're saying that, they're not hyping, they're not anticipating their game, so I don't think they're going to show anything. It's like,
I didn't say they're not.
Yeah, but I'm just summarizing.
I just don't understand how how can they hype their games if they announce it at the event? That's what I'm confused with.
Let's see, can I hold this up to the phone? January 28th, 2017. What does Phil Spencer say?
Did they get that from a tweet? Because
technically, this is an article. This is a
is it an article that originated from a tweet? Is it that?
Yes, and he wrote.
All right. Breaking news. Because somebody could have wrote a whole new article for what he said this year about this year's E3. Because there's tweets I'm talking about their game this year.
I will read the tweet now.
All I've heard is that it's going to be E3 unlike anything we've seen before.
But wait a second. Smooth, here you go. Phil Spencer says on January 27, 2017, yes, in another E3 review right now, I like the lineup. Now, you don't want to hear about E3 in January. Oh, my God.
I guarantee you we're going to get another tweet like that in a couple weeks. I guarantee it.
Well, he guaranteed it in January, so he was excited in January of last year.
All right, but you're concerned because he hasn't tweeted, because he hasn't
tweeted
anything identical like that, even though he technically did.
Yes, thank you, Teddy Perkins. Greatest games lineup ever.
That was 2015.
That was at E3.
They used that a couple times.
This is crazy.
Don't let me go. Go to the next topic. I'm gonna find some more facts.
Because these aren't fucking facts. These are freaking look at what we're criticizing. Look at what we're criticizing. We're criticizing them self-tweets.
It just adds up over time, though. It's basically been dry for 2 years for the hardcore. You got to understand that. So people want to hear something. They want to be excited. They want to have a reason to look forward to E3. We don't even know we're getting a Halo this year, and it's supposed to come out every 3 years. So there is a
No, Halo's
problem.
coming out this year.
How's there a problem
I
for
see
them
what
not
you're saying.
Halo's
teasing
coming
it?
out.
Don't yell at the guest.
Well, I mean, they
Why
announced
is there
Halo
not a
5
problem
2
for
years
them?
out.
Hey,
2
hey,
years
you know
out, they
what's
teased
funny?
that game.
Oh, God.
You know Halo's coming
Hey,
next
you
year.
know
for
what's
sure.
funny? This goes back to this. Hold
Jez,
up.
I like you,
hold
Jez,
up.
but I think you overreacted.
Hey,
just
this
a
goes
tad.
back to that. This goes back to
No, I
that
see
tweet
what
that
he's
Phil
saying.
Spencer said a couple weeks ago. No, hold up. Let me speak. This
No,
goes
go
back
ahead.
to
I can
that
go find
tweet
more
a couple
facts on
weeks
that.
that Phil Spencer said that someone was like, "Why don't you just tell me the whole keynote to E3?" He's like, "Well, I could, but then people would be bitching in a couple months that there's nothing at E3."
Yeah, nothing
Right.
nothing
Nothing new.
exclusive. Yeah, but yeah, did
Well,
that make
even-
because you can write an article about that and it will be an
Even
announcement.
the tweet that,
the
Phil
only
Spencer
reason-
said, when Phil Spencer said that he was like, "You're looking for new IPs," he was like, "Go to Sony headquarters," and I was like, "What the hell?"
He didn't say that. That was
What?
a fake. That was
He
fake.
did-
That was
that
that was
was
fake.
I know. I'm just joking. I'm just saying. It would be like him saying something like that. What I'm saying is, I understand what Jez is saying. We need bangers, and that's just the bottom line. We need bangers.
Yo,
we need
but
bangers.
okay,
These
I
have been dry.
agree. Yeah, Xbox needs bangers. Who doesn't agree with that? But look where the fear is coming from. From the lack of teases on Twitter. Come on. Like,
Yeah.
oh
If they're gonna,
my
I'd rather them
God.
tease
I
that.
don't even.
Tease some
You know
games
what?
rather than avatars. Tease some games rather than backwards compatibility Xbox One. Tease some new games. That's what I'm saying.
You know. Also,
Wait,
Smooth,
who
what-
does that, man?
Wait, Smooth. Hold on.
if you're
You know
gonna
what
tease,
makes
tease about the friggin' games. That's all I'm
I'm
saying.
gonna
I mean,
you something
Sony
because-
teased at PS.
Thank you.
Right. But you know when you
I-
put
I
you
like
put,
our
you
guest
put
today.
Xbox,
I like our guest.
When Ryan McCaffrey said that Xbox fans are
Jack
dying
moving
for
the
God
chat.
of War,
Smooth
right?
gonna stomp his copy of God of War if we keep this up.
He's gonna look at his green screen. They turn like the Hulk.
I understand.
Addict,
I
you can
understand
come
what
back.
Jez is saying. I understand what Jez is saying,
Addict
but
left.
like when you
Yeah.
put in there,
He's
you put in there,
personal.
you put the Xbox fans. When Ryan McCaffrey said Xbox fans are dying for like
Yeah,
a
why
God
don't-
of War kind of like content, right?
It's true.
My thing is, and I really look at this generation. What's made this generation so dynamically different, realistically, is the way we communicate. Like social media wasn't as big with the 360 generation from the beginning of it into the end. Social media didn't really get big until almost the mid to the end of the generation. What's made this generation so big is we are able to talk to each other on a bigger playing field. When you think about it, when the 360 came out, the 360
Yeah,
came out, there was.
It will
Yo,
fix that.
Addict,
Wait, I think he's having a sidebar.
I
Just
don't know
think
how to
if
do
Phil Spencer tweeted back to Ryan McCaffrey, "Wait till E3."
Well, the Xbox
Whoa,
fans,
yeah, you make a
you know
good
why?
point. That's true.
Damn,
The
like
thing is-
That
instead he
built a
goes,
lot of hype.
he would
The
say
Xbox
instead he
fans were
goes,
mad.
well, hardware was tough, backwards compatibility we fixed that, and games are gonna take time. So like, you know,
But the Xbox fans were mad with Ryan McCaffrey's whole statement
oh,
because
he
he's
let him,
always
he
been an
let him, he
Xbox
called
dude.
him out.
But he's always been an Xbox guy. When you look at his history of where he started, he's always been an Xbox guy.
He used to
and
work
him
at
saying
Xbox.
something like, right. Him saying something like this triggered a lot of people. But what he was saying was true, and that's my whole point. If you can't speak the facts about something you love, then why even? It's like if I see Xbox and I like my product as it is. It's like I want more. I bought a $500 X, and it goes back to like I'm like, man, I bought this thing and I want more content on it, and that's what he's speaking to. Like when the next generation comes out, and I bought a $500 X, and I haven't got the content that really pushes this hardware that's coming from the studio that the company that made it. Like, am I just gonna jump right into the next generation with this company?
Probably
No.
not.
Well,
No, probably not.
Realistically, probably not. And I feel
No.
a lot of people may be that way if this generation continues the way it has been going.
Exactly.
Back to what it is.
And
At
it's not a
maybe not the the casual consumer, but the hardcore. That's a possibility.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, this Friday, man, that's not a win for Xbox because their engagement numbers are going to drop down with people playing on PlayStation for God of War. So they got to get the content to bring people to their platform to earn. They got to earn the engagement. Don't have the engagement just kind of subliminally out there like, oh, I got to log into Xbox Live for the Switch. No, you should earn it. and they got to earn Game Pass subscriptions. You don't just do it. You got to have the content to earn it. They got to earn back their fans, and they should not have their fans going to other platforms to play exclusives because that hurts their engagement numbers.
Oh my God, are you kidding me, man? Come on, like
you're gonna hurt the engagement numbers on Friday.
I don't care if I hurt the engagement. That's my prerogative. I mean, I'm gonna play what the hell I want to play wherever I want to play. But the thing is, it's like look what you just said. You're just like they gotta put out content so their fans don't go playing on other platforms. I mean, whoever you are, you're gonna play on whatever you want, whatever the hottest thing is out at that point in time. It's like
my company was built on a product that I was trying to sell. I wouldn't want that to happen.
No, you wouldn't want that to happen, but you gotta understand shit like that's gonna happen. I mean, Apple can't stop Android. Android can't stop Apple. Like fucking people are going to unsubscribe and keep subscribing to fucking Tidal.
Apple apps are not on Android. Like Apple, Google and Amazon got into it over the Google and Nest and all that other stuff. There is underlying competition. And the other thing too is by them tweeting out, oh, congratulations, everybody follows Phil Spencer and Mike Ybarra for Xbox stuff. By them acknowledging that there's something on over there that people should look at, they're kind of telling their fans, go check that out over there. It's like, hey, I make great lemonade, but that part, those guys over there, they make some better lemonade over there. You should check it out. You think I would be a successful business? No,
it's never made sense to me.
My lemonade's good, but
how they like, guys, they got some they congratulate the competition. Granted, everybody knows God of War is going to be a game, viewing amazing. Let's not get into that. But the fact that you got the head of Xbox or the head of gaming at Microsoft saying, "Oh, congratulations to Sony Santa Monica for putting out this masterpiece." It's like, come on.
Yeah, for masterpiece, like exactly.
Right, it's like where your masterpiece is at.
For God of War news, people Phil for Xbox.
And when he tweeted about, my God.
Well, it's not a problem with him tweeting. He
tweeted about Zelda too in the Switch.
Right, and that's not a problem.
But their competition's not tweeting about Xbox ever.
Exactly. Right, yeah, they're not as willing.
That's the one thing, like respect should be reciprocated. And like Microsoft, if I walk by you and I constantly say hi to you, but you never say hi back, like I'm gonna stop saying hi to you. Microsoft keeps saying congratulations, and Sony rarely ever says anything like positive about Microsoft.
Didn't they congratulate them on like Halo or the Xbox One X or something? They congratulated
the X. They did come out.
The X.
Yeah, Shuhei Yoshida. I think he said something about that.
Yeah, he said that system is amazing. He said it's amazing with the technology. He even congratulated Microsoft on backward compatibility because he said, I don't know how you guys did it. You must have some geniuses over there because if we could figure it out with PS4, we would have did it. He said, so the fact that you could do it is really impressive. And I think that, but I think Microsoft has become the company and the gaming company with the gaming generation. They're kind of like, we just don't beat you, we'll join you in some aspect. And is it a good thing for gamers? Yes and no. As far as you buying a platform and being basically built instead of ecosystem, it's kind of like, why in a sense do you buy the platform if you know that they're going to be everywhere in a couple of years?
I'll give you another food analogy. You go to a restaurant, you're about to put the burger in your mouth, and chef comes out, goes, those guys, they got a better burger across the street. You're like, oh, really? Okay. And like the thing is like, if it's good that I understand that they're going to acknowledge that, that's fine and stuff like that. But I think by all of them acknowledging it, they created more of the people said, well, what are you offering? They actually brought it upon themselves. I think if they would have stayed quiet, I don't think it would have blew up as it did. But I think because they went out there and all three of them, major Xbox, all of them went out there and said that, everybody went back to them and going, well, you look at their feed. It's like, well, what are you doing? Give me something to congratulate you. Like why don't you make something? And then I think that's even what led for Ryan McCaffrey to even tweet out his thing. Like it kind of blew up because all those execs were thanking. And the worst thing, I think, my personal feeling is that it's coming off of Microsoft releasing their first-party game that really wasn't that well received by critics. And now you get this game that's like Sony's first game of the year. And actually, both of them are the first game of their first party is like game of the generation, quote-unquote, getting this awesome praise. Yeah. And Sea of Thieves was sort of like, well, lack of content, 68. And this one's the highest on 95. And I think it kind of mirrored them because, what it reminded me of too? Remember when what was it, like Mad Max and something else came out the same day, and everyone was like versus them. Like they just happened to be
Right.
Mad Max
This
and
happened to be-
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah,
which
everybody was
one
like-
was completely overrated, but
exactly. It was like, well, which one you gonna choose? Oh my god, you can't choose both. Which one you gonna choose? And
I mean, they
think
were both good games, but
Oh,
yeah.
they were good, but
yeah, except one was for you got
But it
had
got
to get
into this-
reviewed in a concentration camp.
But it got
Well,
put into
the
this
reason-
pit battle with each other where it was never intended. Like, you know, it just got into this pit
But
battle.
it's also, you know, when you look back at those games, it was the reception because what was going on with Konami and Kojima, and a lot of people were pissed at Konami.
Yeah.
And so
all
that really helped that game to me in a lot of ways. I mean, not saying the game is bad. I think that really helped the game. Perception is a lot of everything. It's not it's not always
people
right.
created
But
that
perception is a
false
lot.
kind of versus in that
Right.
aspect. And now similar, like you have Sea of Thieves, Microsoft's first party Rare title, Rare's back, and then here comes God of War, and it's like, yo, they're not even at the same level.
But
of
we
what-
knew this was going to happen. I mean, we kind of saw the writing on the wall when Sea of Thieves came out, and we were like, ooh.
Now we're hoping
And
there was
then-
more Sea of Thieves than what it
We
was.
were hoping. I was hoping it was going to move more Sea of Thieves. Me playing the betas,
Especially all that
I was like,
beta.
this. I was like, there has to be more to this. And when I got the game, and I was like, wait, what was in the beta was just in here, other than some C-Dicks. I'm sorry, the Kraken. It just didn't make sense to me. And I really freaking wanted more from that game. And I think it really did disappoint me because I had an expectation for that game to be at least.
Frog,
an 80
you
or
weren't
higher.
even checking for the game.
No, dude, I told you I was buying the game day one.
But how many podcasts we got where you were ready like to? Okay.
No, go back and look at podcasts. I was saying I don't care if it's Game Pass or not. I was gonna buy it day one. I said that. I said at full price. I said because when they announced that it was in Game Pass, I was the one that said that. I was the one that said you were the one like, oh, great. It's in Game
Y-Band got
Pass.
a
I
new
don't
shirt.
have to buy it for $60.
On chat.
That's my whole thing. Like my whole thing is me as a consumer. Yeah, it's great, and we always argue the point. It's great what Game Pass is doing, but when you have the quality of games you're putting in Game Pass, how do you justify that $9? How do you justify that $9 subscription every month when the quality of your games is like?
How did Netflix justify its $10 or what? It's $10 a month by putting in B movies? They did that until they got their own fucking studios.
Look, I'll tell you what.
Oh, that's what Microsoft might be doing.
Like, come on, when Netflix was
Netflix was
digital,
like $5
remember
at first.
Netflix did not have like bomb movies in there when it first started. They had Microsoft at this point had better games than Netflix had of movies in their service when they first started.
When Netflix started, what really blew Netflix up was, and this is the main thing that blew Netflix up, and people were tired of. It was convenient, and people were tired of going to Blockbuster. Why is Blockbuster dead?
Netflix.
It's the same thing.
But the streaming was free.
Netflix,
actually, the streaming started off as free. You were subscribing
right,
to
and my whole
the
thing
free
is Netflix.
in the
If
mail.
you go back and you look at the
Streaming was
Netflix
free.
and the
You weren't paying
Blockbuster
for
deal,
streaming.
right? Blockbuster had a chance to get in there with Netflix and Redbox and all these other guys, but it didn't happen.
Didn't evolve.
Yeah, it didn't evolve, and that's why I think when I look at Microsoft as
And
a company,
Netflix wasn't trying to sell a piece of hardware either.
right. Hardware.
You're selling a piece of
Hardware-wise,
hardware for
Microsoft-
Game Pass.
Hardware wise, I honestly think that Microsoft and I know you're going to disagree with me. When the X was coming out, and I looked at the X, I thought the X should have been a new generation, just like when they brought the 360 out from the OG Xbox to the 360. And the reason I say that is because it would have made more sense for it to be a whole new generation.
No,
to
I
develop for
agree.
that.
I agree. It should have been a new
And,
gen.
but the reason they didn't do it is because where do they go from this gen to the next gen when PlayStation 5 comes out? It would be hard to justify. So that's why they didn't do it. And I understand why they didn't do it, but I honestly think that I thought Microsoft was going to say, okay, this X is going to be our brand new generation of new Xbox. $499, we're going to start over, most powerful console ever, blah, blah, blah. At the end of this generation, when the PS5 and whatever the next Xbox comes out, do you think they're going to have tapped into the power of the X with their first-party games?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Grip,
Will it make it?
Grip, what do you think of Sea of Thieves? Did you play it?
Yeah, I played it and I regretted every minute of it. But I got it with the Game Pass trial, so
That's what I that's what I did.
I mean, that game, it's criminal how that took 4 years to develop. And I mean, you think about how much money and how many resources went into advertising that game, developing it, And it's just like almost sickening when they cancel games like Scalebound and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And you look at Sea of Thieves and it's like, okay, you know where all the money and development time went. It was the water. It's the only thing people talk about in that game.
People were thirsty.
Yeah.
People were thirsty.
People talk about water a lot.
That Azure
Yeah.
servers at
That's
work.
the
Everyone's
only
like,
thing you
Xbox
hear
fans are
about the
thirsty. Let's
game.
give them water.
It's the only thing you hear about the game now is like, oh, well, that water looks
TNT.
great.
Let's give them water.
So,
Yeah, the water was incredible.
I got
Like,
I got a question, Smooth,
Mhm.
because I wonder this because I don't know how many people here own X's. I know I own an X. I know you own an X. I think that Merc owns an
Yeah,
X.
I got an X.
And
I
don't know
I
if
got a
Griffin owns
PC, and
So-
I'm waiting for E3 for them to.
You're not buying an X, Jess.
I could buy an
here's
X.
the thing.
I could buy an X
Well,
whenever
here's
I
the
want.
thing.
I know you must say
Well, you bought
you're
it-
not. But I'm not saying because you can't afford one or anything. I was
No,
like, I
I'm
was like,
waiting for E3. They
look-
gotta sell me
Yeah,
that
they're
X.
not selling you one. They're not selling.
I didn't ask
Tell me
Griffin.
what they
Griffin, do
sell.
you have an X or do you?
yeah, I
just
got
have
the
one?
X and the Pro and Switch.
Their job is
Okay.
to sell me an X.
And Smooth has a Pro, and I don't know how many of you here.
I got a Pro.
Jez, you have a Pro. Merc
I have
has
a
a
Pro.
Pro. I don't know. Psycho has a Pro.
I don't have a pro.
Okay, so you don't have a Pro. I don't know if Gaming has a Pro or not. So, what did when you bought an X? Like, and I always look like there was a reason people bought a Pro. There was a reason. Like, I had a 4K TV, and I was like, okay, now I can buy a Pro because now I can play, the games with all my friends at the best whatever quality. I could have stuck with the regular PlayStation for a while, but I was like, well, if it gives me some something to increase, especially with my first party games, with what they were advertising, is like, hey, your first party games. And then I looked and I was like, man, I didn't really have to upgrade, but I did, right? But then I bought an X, right? And the reason I bought an X is I really thought the first party games were coming. I thought these big exclusives. I did. I really thought, and I was like, spend $500.
Frog, what's your question?
You bought an X. Why? That's my question. Why did you buy an X?
So I
You
wanted one.
specifically.
I wanted one. I wanted one. This is the Project Scorpio hype train. I felt like after I built my PC, because I built my PC before there was an X.
Mhm.
I built it. I called it the Xbox 2, and I didn't really care for
Yeah.
I didn't. It just wasn't. It didn't replace my Xbox.
Smooth
as I
gave
thought
me
it
the
would.
idea from
Yeah.
watching his video.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's a great idea.
I didn't. For some reason, I couldn't
That's what
dive
I did.
into fully embrace like the gaming on PC. So I was like, you know what? At least it allows me to do my other shit like pretty efficiently. So the Xbox is.
Did you move from an S to an X, or did you move from the day one Xbox to an
Nah, I
X?
moved from a day one Xbox to an S to an X.
See, yeah, I moved from a day one Xbox to an X. That's the only reason I purchased it,
Oh.
because it was such a dramatic difference. Because I didn't.
I
the
would
S
be going
didn't
from
really-
day one S to an X if I get an X.
Right, and so my whole thing is like, and I look at my purchase of my X now, just like I look at my Pro within the first, the coming year. I was like, man, what have I gotten really on my X that really is showing me something that's really different from that day one Xbox? And I see the 4K patches they've done on Gears and all that, and they're great. But I'm just saying, as far as new content, Sea of Thieves.
Well,
I mean,
I'm saying the
I'm
reason
just
why
saying-
I got the Pro was because I said, well, if I'm gonna spend $500 on X to like play the games in higher resolution, I might as well spend $400 and just get something where I could play games I had never played before. And that's why I wound up getting the Pro to do that, to play games that I missed out on. And when I played those games, I was like, oh, these are good. What's going on? That's how grind started.
So you played good games on PlayStation and just got mad at Xbox for it. Instead of
No,
just
no,
being
Pretty
happy.
much, man.
Like, I
Pretty
don't
much.
understand
Like,
why people do
I
that.
played
People-
those games on PlayStation. And I gave my side eye to the S. What's going on, guys? Like, come on.
I guess what I'm trying to ask Smooth is,
Yeah.
are you
Yeah,
happy
just-
with the purchase of your X, looking at the quality of games that have come out so far since the launch?
Yeah, why wouldn't I be?
Okay.
I mean, it's a
Like,
substantial
you gotta
jump
hit the
from the
thing.
base Xbox, though.
Wait, let
It
me
is.
answer your question. Why is this stupid Apple thing keep popping up on my computer? All right,
Because
I bought an Xbox One X because it was literally a console that was going to do something consoles haven't done or like normally do, and that's fucking 4K gaming. I was sold on the fucking resolution. I was like, if my game's gonna. I was like, and I said, and I'm pretty sure I got a couple podcasts. If they give me one game that was doing native 4K 60 frames uncompromised, I'm already sold. Right? I'm already
also
sold.
Super Lucky's Tale sold you.
Super Lucky
don't
Style.
do that.
Well, if you choose,
I'm saying you said Forza.
if you choose to select that game over Forza 7 or what Gears of War 4 provided in this 4K patch, or any other game that provided like a 4K patch. I mean, if you ignore those and just point out Super Lucky Tales, then sure, Super Lucky Tales can be that game.
Well, I don't know, because like you said true. Are you saying true K4?
True 4K. I mean, Forza 7 is true 4K.
It's dynamic.
No, it's not.
It's not true. No, it's
Forza
dynamic.
7 is true 4K.
Go look it up.
Well,
It's dynamic.
Forza 7's native 4K.
It's native 4K.
No,
dude.
It's native.
Like, so what I'm saying
Wait,
is the whole
look it up. What am I looking up? What's dynamic?
Wait.
What's dynamic? What
Everything
Forza
else-
was you talking about?
Everything else is
What I'm saying
dynamic.
Like,
I'm
what-
saying is
Far Cry
Microsoft's-
5 is native 4K.
native.
What I'm saying is
It
Microsoft's
hits
whole.
native. It's not locked.
It hits
It's locked native 4K, bro.
No, it hits native 4K.
Who?
It doesn't
What
say
game are we talking about now?
Far Cry
Look,
5.
Far
it's
Cry
not-
5. Go look at Digital
It's,
Foundry. They
it's,
say
it hits 4K. It's not native. It's not
but
locked.
It will drop. It is not locked native 4K. Here's the problem with Microsoft's whole thing.
No. I'm done.
Wait.
You already asked your question. You asked why did I buy that? Why am I happy with my purchase? I didn't buy the Xbox One X pretending that some bunch of new games are gonna come that I didn't expect. Like,
yeah, but you said if it hit native 4K, the whole thing that Microsoft
there's native 4K games that's on this console, right?
Yeah, and there's some on the Pro as well, too. Not the
there's some
big
on the
one.
Pro as well.
Not the big
But it's
ones.
not-
There's some native big games on the X.
What
That's
I'm
the
saying what I'm saying to you is
Not
this:
native. It's
is
Forza 7's
the
gonna be-
narrative of what's
cares?
native, of what
Who
true,
cares?
what
Microsoft
dynamic.
No,
Make
I
it
just,
feel
dude.
like
All I said was I gave you one
Cares,
reason. I
native.
gave you one reason. I was like 4K on the console, boom, and you're saying, oh, Super Lucky Styles. I'm like,
No,
I
but
mean,
you
that's
said-
not like the
Well,
only
I'm
game
just
that's 4K, man.
It's not
Who
the
cares
only
about the
game
4K?
that-
But Microsoft made it that reason.
Yeah, that's what it was
okay.
sold for. What the fuck? Like, come
But they-
on, like,
They
do you guys
revived the whole resolution.
They did revive the whole
That's
resolution.
my problem
When it
right
was
there. See,
Scorpio, it was
exactly.
completely
Thank you.
different.
Exactly. There
You
you,
said-
go.
you said what?
The
That's what I was
resolution
trying to
thing
get
It
was
was
dying.
Project Scorpio is totally different than what happened when that true 4K thing came out at E3 of last year.
What the,
Then all of a
now you're
sudden-
confusing me. So the Xbox One X was never about resolution now?
No, it's
No,
always
it's
about
what, it's
resolution.
what,
Right,
They
and
changed
so-
it,
no,
though.
it's what
They
Griffin was
changed
saying.
it.
How they changed the wording of what
Yes.
true 4K, native 4K, like true 4K,
It-
native 4K, and dynamic. They all mean something different. So it's just like true 4K and native 4K means something.
Yeah,
different
but
to
that
Microsoft.
doesn't change the fact that you said Forza 7 was like some dynamic 4K, and that's not.
No,
the
Forza
case.
7 is
it-
native.
no, Forza
It's
7
the only game is native.
No, it's
Forza
not.
7
What
Native
the
Forza
f-
60.
Somebody help me! Somebody!
A lot of games.
What the
Here's the
fuck?
thing.
What am I doing to myself? Like,
I
oh,
think Gears is 4K 60 in multiplayer.
I'm
I mean,
looking at
Gears is
Far
4K.
Cry 5. It's native 4K on Xbox One.
Locked. Okay, locked
It's
native
not-
4K.
Yeah, but it's not locked native 4K. It can hit native 4K, just like a lot of Xbox games can hit 4K. But it's not. Go back and look at the Digital Foundry video. They
We gotta
said it.
wait for Digital Foundry to tell us.
I'm
the
just
hell
saying
we-
they clearly
That's-
said it.
that's
The game can hit native 4K and it can stay native 4K most of the time.
Who
But my
cares?
whole thing is
Next
my
time,
whole
no
thing
gives a
is
shit about 4K.
it doesn't. The
I
whole
mean,
thing
honestly,
matters to me
it
is
doesn't
the
even matter, bro.
percentage.
God of War looks better
God of War 0K
than Far
on
Cry
Xbox.
5
There you
and
go.
4K on the Xbox One X. That's facts.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's facts. That's undeniable.
Because I remember, you know, when Xbox had the exclusives and Sony did, and people were like, oh, 0p, you know,
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Exactly.
Smoke.
Hey.
Kid Smoke.
what's up?
All right, man.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain.
Punch the wall.
I'm just done arguing about it.
moving.
I feel your pain.
I just don't know anymore.
Wrong. No
gotta
more
be
questions.
fucking-
No more questions.
I'm not gonna.
No more questions. What's the next topic?
Oh my god.
Okay, yeah, what was the next? I sent Griffin a bunch of stuff in the chat. We're about to be almost done with this. I don't mean to hold you guys up. But I definitely super appreciate Griffin for coming through. Definitely enjoy your content. I don't know if I got to tell you that. I kind of just said, hey, can you come on the podcast? And I can't find my mouse. I think I threw the shit somewhere. Like, yeah, I really can't find my freaking mouse. I don't know what I did with it. Oh my god. Oh, there we go. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, no, Holy crap! I just want to see if there was anything that we that I forgot that I wanted to talk about. Talked about E3. We talked about Ryan McCaffrey. We talked about Daryl. So, is there anything you guys want to?
The chat is lit, bro.
Is there anybody? Is there anything? Anybody got any questions unrelated to like freaking?
I've spent about 30 minutes worth of podcast just reading the chat because it's on fire.
I guess I'll open it.
Any questions at all? Griffin, any like you have any questions? I know you were mistaken for a PlayStation fanboy, which was kind of funny, but
Yeah. I guess the only question I would can think of right now is, do you think Crackdown will get a price drop?
yes, I believe so.
Because I'm starting to sense that it is. Because obviously it's the multiplayer that's holding this game up.
Rumor has it that it was the single player and multiplayer has been done.
Really?
Yeah,
I've heard differently.
I'm hearing different shit.
It's like the fully destructible environments. Like no matter how you look at that, that's going to be an issue on a regular Xbox One. Like that stuff is next level. We've never seen anything like that before in a game. So that's the part I would think would be the holdup, if anything. The single player seems pretty easy because there's been Crackdown 1 and 2 and they've had perfectly fine single players.
Right. I think if this is what would be the telling point, right? If Crackdown, if it does get a price drop, that means they just melded in and they know themselves that it's not going to be the greatest product, and they're just doing it because they don't want to cancel it. And from that, I would suggest that I would expect them to actually have probably like a third party exclusive another time just to like make, because if you think about 2018 itself isn't that much different from 2017 as far as like releases go, except now we getting more games on the front end of the year. Like last year we had February, and then everything else was like lumped into like September, October, but none of them were like $60 like type style games with the exception of Forza 7. So I think I made a video about it, my Crackdown video. I think it's coming, and I think it's coming fairly soon, but I think it's getting like a price cut. Like it's going to be like $40, and it's not going to be well received. I hope I'm wrong, but that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, I saw your video on that, and I agree.
Hey, I said that some podcasts ago.
Oh, got to pay the bills?
Yeah, you got to pay the bills, man.
All right. Let me and I'm gonna let you continue, Frog, right after I pay this bill. My bad.
Go ahead.
Infinity Hand said, with God of War being revamped, what would you think of Halo 6 getting an RPG, Gears of War getting a horror game, and Forza being a death ray style game? Huh. Oh, wow. Wait, let the music playing. I can't figure out a way to stop it. Every time somebody gives a donation, music plays and I'm supposed to be dancing on the screen, but I got rid of the dancing. I can't get rid of the music for some reason.
Halo RPG, that'd be interesting. Yeah. I think Gears kind of feels like a horror game already. No, I'm only joking. But Forza Death Race style, that'd be interesting too. I guess he's talking about like some kind of Mad Max kind of in this open world race. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I would love to see Playground collaborate with somebody to help to do like another like full auto type game, because full auto was the shit.
Oh, full auto.
Yeah. That game
was good.
That game was
cool. Imagine that with the Crackdown destruction. Oh my god. Ooh.
That was good.
Damn, that shit would make me cry. Man.
Full auto. Who made full auto?
It was Sega. I know Sega.
It was somebody.
Yeah.
I gotta get my facts checked over. I've been using it a lot tonight.
I can see Halo as an RPG, using the Arbiter being like a giving him his 100%. Own game.
That's probably the one that best fits.
Yeah,
like the Spartan enhancements and everything like that. It worked perfectly.
Yeah.
Something like a KOTOR or something like that, like a Knights of the Republic kind of RPG. That would be amazing. Because I think they have the universe and the lore to set that up to be really big, and I think get a team in there, get somebody in like Obsidian to go ahead and just say, look, you guys take this and make your RPG, this Halo RPG in that world. I think that'd be really cool.
And as far as for Gears is technically, well, it's not horror anymore, but it started out as like a horror game,
right?
I think it would. What you can do with Gears of War, because of the nature of Gears of War, I would say try a first person version of Gears of War, like. Take a different, like, I wouldn't use like market. I would have it in the Gears universe, but make it a first person game. Can you like we like? Can you think about it? it plays like a first person shooter already. It's just the camera's at a third person third person screen or second person, however they describe it, over the shoulder. I can see Gears. I would like to see how Gears would do in the first person mix up and taking place in the Gears universe. What's that war that they fought? Was it Pendulum Wars or
The Pendulum Wars?
Yeah,
the
Pendulum Wars. Yeah, base it on that and make it an FPS and I don't know, sell it that way. I'm not sure, but I mean, I don't know what else you would do with Gears. Like I wouldn't make Gears a platformer or I want Uncharted it
Gears
or
XCOM.
RTS.
XCOM.
I don't like RTSs. I'll tell you this.
I don't think it would sell. But I think
Pendulum Wars.
I think that would be a good style for Gears because XCOM type of game. Because Mario and Rabbids came out. And I got it on the Switch, and it's pretty interesting. But I think Gears with that solid gameplay, it would be something very different.
Yeah.
So or do something like how they did Halo Wars. They could do Gears Wars. But I don't think that will sell either. I just don't think people want that.
I just think they gotta evolve the mechanics of Gears, like give it more fluidity,
Gears
like
Battle Royale.
keep that third-person view. But maybe this is a wrong comparison, but kind of give it like that Uncharted fluidity, where it doesn't feel so stiff as it does right now. Like when you're,
loosen it up. I see what you're saying.
Loosen it up a little bit.
Right.
That's something I would do with Gears. See, that's taking a
Make
chance.
it more like an action adventure or something like that.
See, that's the thing is, there's only so many ways I can see Gears of War. Like I love me a good action adventure game, and that's why I want Tomb Raider to be that game. So, but not Tomb Raider, Perfect Dark. I want Perfect Dark to be that third-person action adventure game set in this future, like compared to it could be like a Splinter Cell type fucking game. Like it'd be.
I think you'll see Perfect Dark at E3.
I see it. I got $60 riding on it. It better be at E3. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose $60.
We're not gonna see it. Now we're not gonna see it.
You think it'll be made by Rare?
No, absolutely not.
I hope not.
Absolutely not. I wouldn't want Rare to make it at this point.
Rare's a bad word at Microsoft.
This version of Rare we got is just a bunch of goofy drunk kids.
They're working on
all the talent
AI content.
No, I think I would reach out to the people that made either the team behind Hitman, since they're independent now, to do it, to at least assist with that, or the people behind Deus Ex. Deus Ex, the one they just released. Who did that?
What about the team behind Mirror's Edge? I think that
that might not be bad.
Because I mean, Dying Light saw a lot of success when they added that parkour mechanic to zombies.
Right. Look, as long as it's not published by EA or Activision, because I don't want it to be published by them at all.
Perfect. Perfect Doc?
I don't want EA or Activision.
Microsoft's
I don't want
publish it. They got it. They're
IP. No, what I'm saying is I don't want Microsoft or EA's hands in that. Like, I don't feel comfortable about that. I just don't want their hands in it. If they're gonna say, okay, this studio, like let's just say they said, okay, and we know this is not gonna happen. Like BioWare is making the next, I don't know, Perfect Dark, and it's an RPG, blah blah blah. Okay, I'll be comfortable with that. But if they're like some other B team, like, here's our team from blah blah blah, and they're making, I'm like, nah, I don't really want that studio's, like, I just, not EA, Activision. They're too grimy. I don't know.
EA has really good studios under them.
Microsoft
could sign a publishing deal with EA to basically say, like, all right, EA, you're going to have no part in this. We're going to work directly with the studio.
Right.
I think it could turn out well because they have a lot of talent.
Who published Titanfall? Did Microsoft or EA publish the first Titanfall?
I think it was Microsoft.
Microsoft did.
Was it?
You said who published it?
The first game, yeah.
I think Microsoft published
it. I want to say it was EA.
I'm going to check.
I don't know. I want to say it was EA.
I want to say it's EA, man.
Because I know EA and Microsoft, they went behind Respawn's.
Yeah, published by EA.
Right. Yeah, because it was supposed to be a multi-plat. It was supposed to be a multi-plat, and then EA and Microsoft went behind Respawn's deal. If you read the whole story behind it, they kind of went behind Respawn and said no, because they had PS4 and PS3 versions up and running, but the problem was that Microsoft and EA went behind their back and said, no, we're going to make this exclusive to this console and locked, which was smart.
Yeah, where's that person? Who made that deal? That's what I
don't know. But my question is smooth. My question is smooth, and not just my question is smooth, and not just smooth, but everybody here.
No more questions.
This is a great question. With the critically acclaimed. No, this is a great question.
Good.
No, mute them.
The success of God of War coming out with the Metacritics and all that, do you think God of War will be a bigger selling game this generation than Uncharted 4? Because Uncharted 4, if I'm not mistaken, is the biggest selling IP on PlayStation.
How much is it? Should
over 10
9 million.
Over 10 million.
I think Spider-Man
I
will
heard
beat out
9.
God of
They're
War.
over 10
Oh,
now.
they got Spider-Man too. I forgot. Holy
I think Spider-Man is going to be amazing, but
That's
is
the
God of
Spider-Man.
War going to reach that 10 million mark? Are we seeing sales numbers like that, or no? Do we not think it's going to reach Uncharted?
With that hype that
with the
God
hype
of War
that
getting,
God
I
of
can
War
see
has,
it. I can
it
see
can. It can.
God of War is gonna be huge, and then Spider-Man is gonna be a 1-2.
Because I mean, if I'm not
1-2
mistaken,
punch.
Horizon Zero
Shit.
Dawn has passed 6
I
million.
want to
It's
see if
close to
Sony
7
announces
million now.
engagement.
It's almost at 8
Yeah.
million.
They announce sales,
Yeah, so these games are selling big numbers.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking like God of War is gonna be successful, but is it gonna be like that 10 million console seller?
Yeah, I'm gonna say by default,
definitely
yes.
think
The
so.
hype that's because no other game that PlayStation dropped has the hype riding behind it the way God of War has it.
and it's God of War too. Yeah.
Second part to the question, even though this is kind of hard to predict, do you think it will end up being Game of the Year over Red Dead, which is going to be perceived as Game of the Year? Because you gotta remember that Grand Theft Auto came out and people perceived it was going to be a Game of the Year, and it didn't. Last of Us did.
Yeah,
so that's what
I
I'm saying.
say.
Do you think that's possible? That God of
Yes,
War can
because
be Game of
Red
the Year?
Dead, because Rockstar's gonna fuck up. And they're gonna have like intrusive,
You think
like
so?
they're gonna have intrusive, fucking microtransactions.
Yeah, it's gonna be like
'Cause they're-
GTA 5.
They're having so much success with GTA. It's gonna spill its way over, but it's not gonna resonate in Red Dead, and it's gonna run people the wrong way, and that's gonna hurt his Game of the Year chances. It might be a great game, but I think
I'm a little
it's
worried
gonna
about the story.
it's gonna take that to kill it. That's my
Somebody
Yeah,
in the
I
chat
don't
asking PS5 launch game predictions.
Oh, we already know what that
Come
is.
on, can we save this
Come
for
on.
like Planet PlayStation? Like,
Look, hey, they just want to know.
Last of Us 2 will be president.
Yo, I gotta roll, y'all.
All right,
I
Cycle.
gotta roll that.
yeah, he got to roll that. Actually, it's gonna mess up the feed. So everybody do like your outros now, and I'll let Frog answer that question.
No, I don't want to. I want to mess
No,
up
it's
everybody's
about to be 11 o'clock. and I want to play God of War.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and answer that question real quick. PS5, they're gonna have a lot of games. They're gonna go over, and they're gonna have patches to PS5. You're gonna get your Last of Us. You're gonna get your Ghost of Tsushima. You're gonna get your Kojima game. You're gonna get your Days Gone. That system, and I've said it. That system is coming 2019 physical year. So by March 2020. We're going to get a PS5, and you will see those games that you bought on your PS4 go over, and they will be patched into the PS5 ecosystem. So
Okay.
any big game that you're talking about now, that's what you're going to get.
My launch games for PS5: Knack 3 and Flower 2.
And Kid Smooth's favorite, Bloodborne 2.
Oh,
Battlefield 2,
that's
maybe
a
in
day one
there.
seller right there.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
All right. But first off, if you guys just tuned in, sorry if you just tuned in, you missed a one hell of a show. But that's why we got on demand, and you can watch this thing on or listen to this thing on iTunes. Shout out to Griffin Gaming. Subscribe to Griffin Gaming. Great YouTuber. He's probably gonna inch up somewhere on my list for by the time the year's up. On my favorite YouTubers list. Great content creator there, guy Griffin Gaming. Thank you for showing up, giving your thoughts. I'm sorry if it seemed overbearing with the arguing and whatnot.
It's all good. This was fun. So
Come
I had
on,
a
get
great
under my
time.
face.
I'm happy. So that means if I need you again for a cleaner episode, you think you'll be willing to come back?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome, man.
Anytime you feel like having me, just invite me. I'll do my best to make it. So
Awesome. That's good to hear. That's good to hear, man. That is so awesome to hear. But you guys, I'll let you guys close out the show.
What the heck?
He
Frog's
wants to start
dog says
reloading
hello.
that
Psycho,
God of War
freaking out,
PS4,
man.
bro. Look at him.
Yeah,
I
it's
see him
hilarious
already.
because like if you just listen to
He's
audio,
turning the wrapper off.
get out of my face.
Psycho
All
Gamer.
right, I'm gonna do my outro.
Do
Hey
your
y'all, thanks. We had a great show tonight. And big shout out to Griffin Gaming and shout out to the chat. Again, great show. And yes, it's Cycle Gamer, and I'm out.
Gaming Addict.
What's going on, you guys? Appreciate everyone for coming by. No, I'm here. I've been here the whole time. I stopped trying to talk because everyone's just talking over me. So I appreciate everyone for coming out. Appreciate the guys for coming on. I'm gonna go ahead and end this because I'm sure kids trying to go play God of War. And
Yep, I got 2 days
see you
off.
next week.
I got 2 days.
Hey, Smooth. Play it on the hardest difficulty, man.
I'm gonna block your channel. Come up on my live stream. I don't want I don't want no spoilers from Smooth, so I'm muting.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna be an asshole.
Hey, if he doesn't play it on the hardest difficulty, I'm not listening to anything he says.
Oh my god. Yeah, I heard that thing's hard, bro. According to what people are saying. They're saying it's crazy.
All right, Jazz grinds my gears.
Someone said in the comment section. Someone said in the comment section, never seen Kitsmu that excited to play an Xbox game.
No, he has. He has.
People,
He has.
I'm just gonna ignore that.
Wait till
but-
State of Decay 2, bro. You'll find.
Yeah,
Wait
what's up?
till that
This
State of
is
Decay 2.
what grinds my gears. Check out my show on my channel 80 and follow me over at Jez7780 on Twitter.
Yeah, the reason
Don't
why you
follow
heard the
that dude
blanks.
anywhere.
Reason why you heard the blanks is that's because Jez was cussing. So it was blanking like every other word. But subscribe to Grinds My Gears. And check out how often you do your show. Is it?
I do it like once a week. If it's something that triggers me, you know.
It depends when Phil pisses him off.
All right, so
And then
we're gonna have like
piss him off.
we're gonna have like 6 of them in June. Like
It'll be all week, right? No, and then also I do some streaming. I've been streaming some games. I've been trying to do the mix of stuff
Yep.
on my PC, and then I do some virtual reality stuff on off the PlayStation
all
because
right.
it's easy to put it on YouTube.
Frog.
What's up? This is Frogs Dope Gaming. You can check my channel out. Don't listen to Colin Moriarty because he's never played all the Gears of War or God of War games. He's a fraud, and I don't listen to anything that guy says of his opinion. He tries to give a review on something, but he really didn't. He doesn't understand the series, so he's a freaking fraud. But yeah, go out there, play this game, support this game, and support any game that you feel that is necessary to support. It's important to go out there and play games and enjoy whatever your console preference is, whether you play an Xbox, Nintendo, or Switch. We all kidding, we joking here. We just want the community as gamers to be better. That's really what it all boils down to.
Facts.
That's what's up. And Merc.
Yo, thank you everybody for coming out. Big shout out to
The
Griffin
marketing
Gaming.
member of Planet
Yes, that's
Expo.
right. That is correct. The marketing director of Planet Xbox. Thank you everybody for coming out and supporting. Big shout out to Griffin Gaming. Man, you can catch me on Twitter at Merc305 Gaming, Merc305 on Xbox Live, on Steam, etc. Man, hit me up.
And Griffin Gaming.
Yeah, this was a great show. I had a great time. Thanks for having me on. You can find me on YouTube at Griffin Gaming. Just search it. And then on Twitter at Griffin_gaming. Definitely follow me on there because I give a lot more of my opinions on there, kind of uncensored. But yeah, this was a great time, and I'll be more than happy to come on again if I'm invited. So thanks again.
Awesome. Yup.
Yeah.
Definitely. You guys know, as always, Xbox is the best box, and I am the best bot. Good night or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe, and I might do an unboxing video in like 5 minutes, and I might not. All right. See you guys later.
Just do it now.
He ain't gonna do it. He ain't gonna do it.
He ain't gonna do it.